That's 314-947-2012.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The reports of a shooting at Florida State University and people hospitalized. We are told someone is in custody. It's a story still developing. President Trump meeting with Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni at the White House says he's confident about trade and tariff negotiations with the European Union.
Of course there'll be a trade deal, very much. They want to make one very, very much, and we're going to make a trade deal. I fully expect it, but it'll be a fair deal.
Prime Minister Meloni says she's sure, too, a deal can be made. A federal judge in Virginia says Google's parent company Alphabet has an illegal monopoly over 2 online advertising tech markets.
Google was accused of using classic monopoly tactics of locking customers to its products and controlling transactions. The Department of Justice has argued that Google should have to sell off at least its Google Ad Manager. Google says it will appeal and says publishers have many options and they choose Google Ad tools because they're simple, affordable, and effective. A trial next week in Washington will decide on the government's request to make Google sell its Chrome browser because of its online search dominance.
Fox's Jenny Casola. President Trump is congratulating the Texas legislature on advancing a school voucher program.
The Texas House has given initial approval to a $1 billion private school voucher program, marking a major step forward for Governor Greg Abbott's top legislative priority. The measure passed 85-63 with every Democrat and 2 Republicans voting no. The bill would create education savings accounts for private school costs, prioritizing low-income families and students with disabilities. Lawmakers also advanced a $7.7 billion public school funding bill to raise teacher pay and boost the quality of special ed. Both measures now head to the Senate for final negotiations. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 259 points. The S&P is up 21. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Windy and 75 for the high this afternoon. Couple of thunderstorms here and there. Tonight it's dry, partly cloudy, but very mild. 66. Friday, partly sunny, windy with some showers around. 83. Pretty good shot of strong to severe thunderstorms. Scattered variety, but around on Friday night. And then a touch cooler, but unsettled over the Easter weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. We know the loss and the cost of an accident because when an insurance company offers a lowball settlement, we go to war for you and take the fight to the insurance company. Call 314-500-5000.
I'm Danny Cohn, CEO of the Jewish Federation of St. Louis. I want to share a bit about Passover, especially for those who may have friends, neighbors, or coworkers observing this meaningful Jewish holiday. Passover tells the story of Moses and the Israelites' journey from slavery to freedom in ancient Egypt. It is a time for family, reflection, and honoring traditions passed down through generations. Many families gather for a Seder, a special meal filled with symbolism and questions that spark conversation and learning. No matter what you celebrate this season, appreciating each other's cultures and traditions helps us build a more connected, compassionate St. Louis. So from our Jewish community to yours, Happy Easter, Ramadan Mubarak, and Chag Pesach Sameach. Happy Passover.
If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us here on 97.1 FM Talk here in St. Louis. We've got Ethan and you don't have to get on the microphone. He's still working. He's always working. He's usually just in the background working. Ryan Wiggins took the day off to go to Chicago for his like favorite band from another country was in Chicago.
I don't even think it was the whole band.
I don't understand. And then he sent a text message. But did he get called on stage last night?
Apparently.
I literally didn't understand the message that he sent. He's like, guess who got called on stage to reenact something weird? I don't know. So we're going to find out tomorrow when he's back.
What kind of concert was this?
I don't know. He drove a long way to do it, though. He was going to drive there and drive back in the same day. But he stayed with a buddy, so he'll be back tomorrow.
Gotcha.
So in the ranking of what's the most important in Ryan Wiggins' life, this band that we can't remember the name of, they might be huge just because I don't know a band's name. You all know this by now. There's a lot going on the show today. We're excited to have you here. Charles Gasparino is going to be back with us. He is the Fox Business senior correspondent. We're going to talk tariffs with him. Is that right?
Tariffs and delisting Chinese companies from the market.
So I have a New York Post article right here. Paul Atkins, President Trump's nominee as the new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, it's not a conference, faced a key question just as he was to be grilled during his confirmation this past week. Would the longtime securities lawyer and regulator investigate Chinese companies for what one senator believes are wanton and blatant violations of U.S. disclosure laws that have gone unchecked for years? Well, we're going to ask Charles Gasparino about this. I imagine it would be highly consequential if that were to take place. And we get experts on here to talk about things that we are not experts on, which is most stuff. However, our YouTube live chat poll for today, of which I would say, I don't know if you can be an expert in this, but we all have a strong opinion on Easter. Easter is coming up, of course. Today is, well, I don't know. Do you guys recognize today as Maundy Thursday? Is that part of anything for you guys?
Holy Thursday.
You call it Holy Thursday?
Yeah, I guess Holy Thursday. But
tomorrow is
Good Friday.
Tomorrow's Good Friday.
Good Friday. Mm-hmm. Then do we have a name for something on like
I don't think
Saturday?
There's anything for Saturday.
There's always like an Easter vigil.
Holy Week timeline.
I think it depends
Holy
on the
Wednesday, Holy Thursday, Good Friday.
It seems kind of lazy.
It says Holy Saturday.
Of course it
on
is.
AI overview, according to Google. It's a lot of holy going on this week.
Yeah, let's go to Google to find out what the names of the Holy Week is. And then you know what they came up with? Holy Wednesday, Holy Thursday. But you said that's in your church.
Yeah,
which is a
Catholic
Baptist-based,
church,
non-Baptist. I'm Lutheran. As if you've listened for a while, you probably understand that. And yes, as a Lutheran, I'm going to tell you I'm an LCMS Lutheran, not the ELCA Lutherans. It is quite a bit different, but it is Holy Week. It's interesting to look at the news right now and see a lot of times Holy Week coincides with spring break. So my kids are home. My husband, who's a teacher, is home. But a lot of people are taking off right now. We will be here, and tomorrow will be Good Friday. So the question for our YouTube poll today is, do you celebrate Easter? I think Easter is an interesting holiday because for me, it's the resurrection of Jesus, which is the highest of high days in church. If you grow up, like, everything revolves around, of course, Good Friday, but ultimately Easter, which is when Jesus rises from the dead. I don't like Christmas. To me, I understand the birth of Christ, big deal. But I also understand secularly, if you take the birth of Christ, the religious part out of it, there's still a lot left of Christmas for people to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if the Easter Bunny visits your house and lays eggs everywhere, I mean, I don't need to go into the details here. I just never really.
He did what in his cup?
Yeah.
Reminds me of.
If the Easter Bunny is there and laying Easter eggs at your house, and that's the extent of what Easter is for you, get an Easter basket full of your favorite goodies and that type of stuff. Okay, I get that. I wonder how many people actually celebrate Easter as a secular holiday versus just not really celebrating it at all. Like when it's, what's another holiday? I mean, I think Memorial Day is an example of a holiday that people celebrate a lot of, but don't actually sit there and think of the purpose behind Memorial Day, which is a very heavy, there's a lot of gravity to the idea of Memorial Day, thinking about the ability to live in this free country and that it cost an awful lot to be able to do that. If you're remembering those who were lost fighting to protect our freedom, if you stop on the day where you're laying in the pool on the floaty and the barbecue grill's going, you got a beer in your hand or a margarita or something, when you stop to think about that, I think that's important. You have to have both. I don't really understand, because I've always been on the religious side of Easter. I don't really understand the going all out for the secular side of Easter. Do you know what I'm saying?
I completely know what you're saying. And I think that, and I like the comparison between Christmas and Easter, because I think you take out the birth of Christ out of Christmas. And like you said, you see the different aspects of Christmas that are still good in the secular sense. And, you have the whole Santa Claus thing, but there could still be like good aspects and even like positive family built
season
aspect, right?
Yeah.
So like, what is the heart behind Christmas? It's all about giving, right? Rather than receiving. Easter doesn't really have that. It feels like the Easter holiday was the secular part of it was there specifically so that the people that don't necessarily follow Christianity have something too. That's what it feels like to me.
To me, it feels more like if you wanted to rip the religious part out of it, that it would be more about spring, like green grass, hooray!
Right,
which is exciting. Not because exciting is your eternal life, but so yeah. I'm just gonna guess that everybody in here celebrates Easter as a religious holiday.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
So our options on the YouTube poll for today is, do you celebrate Easter? Of course, we have yes and no, but the yes is broken down into two options. Yes is a religious holiday. Yes is a secular holiday. And then, of course, no. And I'd be interested to hear people's thoughts, because different people, I think all three of us in here would certainly say, and we have, yes, it's a religious holiday, but it might be celebrated differently among the three of us. So there's a lot of room for variance in these answers. But did you hunt Easter eggs as a kid?
As a kid, yes, I did, but it was very, I guess I would say it was very made clear, I guess, by my parents that was not the point of it, right? That it was an excuse to have the candy, to get a few coins. Were they dyed Easter eggs that you set out for the Easter Bunny to pick up, like actual eggs, or were they plastic? We had plastic eggs during our Easter egg hunts that we would do after church on Sundays, but we would dye eggs usually on Friday or Saturday on that weekend prior at some point. And I was the only one in my family that wouldn't eat them. So
Do you eat hard-boiled eggs now?
No, I think they're disgusting.
Oh, you're missing out. What about you, Brad? Did you hunt Easter eggs as a kid?
Yeah, I didn't grow up in a religious family household. It was more of a Christmas and Easter Catholic household that I grew up in. And every Easter we would get together with my other family member, my mom's side of the family, and we would go hunt Easter eggs at their house and that sort of thing. So yeah, we did the whole like secular gamut of Easter, but it was always, we would go to church on Easter morning and all that other fun stuff. But yeah, there was no stigma around hunting Easter eggs or anything like that whenever I was growing up. And we did both plastic and the hard-boiled dyed eggs.
Did you ever have plastic Easter? You said you did have plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever have money in them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good days.
Usually, that usually,
Mom and Dad, you can still do that for your kids. I'm just telling you right now. I don't care if they're 40.
few different. Oh yeah,
I will hunt eggs for dollars.
I think last year my now wife's grandparents gave me like, I think they gave me an Easter egg with like $50 in or something.
Whoa,
like that. Man, I like Easter.
Heck yeah,
this is a great holiday. I like the secular part too.
When I was there was like no rhyme or like these weren't Brad's eggs and these weren't my brother's eggs or anything like that. It was just whichever ones you found. I always ended up with one with like $1 or something. Like my brother rolled out there with like 3 $10 bills or something like that. Come out of Easter.
So now at both grandparents' house for my kids, they will say like, okay, the pink eggs belong to Molly and the blue eggs belong to Charlie, and they will have money in them and candy. Good. But that way you go out and you're not like my 15-year-old son's not out there mowing down his cousins. Get out of the way!
Crushing it.
Because he would. I'm telling you what. If they're, I mean, he'd probably. I'm sorry, Charlie, but he'd probably be looking for the candy more than the money. So, but you just kind of organize it that way so everybody can go out and disperse.
Do you guys hide them, or does the Easter Bunny hide them?
Easter Bunny.
Okay.
Yeah. I think. I don't know. I've never hid eggs.
Interesting. I don't know what I'll do as a parent. I don't know if I'll roll with the whole Easter Bunny thing.
You just got to let the Easter Bunny decide.
I guess so.
That's right.
We have a young demographic here at 97.1.
We certainly do on Easter, on Holy Thursday.
Holy Thursday.
You got to let the Easter Bunny make those decisions.
Okay, fair enough.
We're going to speak with Tyrus at 1:00, and we also have Will Chamberlain coming in or on this show. He's going to join us via Zoom at 1:25. I'm going to talk to Will Chamberlain about the Letitia James stuff, right?
Yep.
That he's been posting a lot about that. Letitia James in New York. Do I have that video? I have that video, don't I?
Yes.
Okay. So Letitia James is the Attorney General who campaigned on the idea of getting Trump and said many times that she was like, that was the intention of her being the Attorney General. Should she win, that this is what she was going to go on and do. And she did it. And when she was so confident in the way that she said, like when she was pushing against Donald Trump and levying this, what was it? Fraud. What kind of fraud was it? Was it mortgage fraud? Because that's the irony of irony.
It was a form of it. It was because falsifying documents on the values of houses are properties to get loans. So that's
for Trump.
Yeah.
And for her. It's the same thing. I mean, when you understand what Letitia James did, and we're going to get the legal expert reaction to this with Will at 1:25. What Letitia James did, part of it said that she was married to her father on a document.
That was a really, really old one.
It doesn't really matter.
Right.
That is weird. But on top of that, she also has a primary residence listed in Virginia, and you can't have your primary residence in Virginia if you're the Attorney General for the state of New York. You just can't do that. Now, I feel like I'm a little torn because some of this seems a little petty, but then I'm like, all right, Letitia, you make the rules. We're going to play by your rules if this is what you did. And then you went after Donald Trump. I mean, this is FAFO in spades. Listen to her now after the Trump DOJ has levied charges against her for mortgage fraud. If you're watching us, you're going to be able to see her reactions, but listen to the energy in her voice.
My mission is clear. I'm focused. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've been trained by the best. I went to Howard University that overturned legal segregation in this country. I've been taught in those classrooms where Thurgood Marshall once taught. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you. We're standing up for you. We're fighting on. We're not going down silent. Victory, my friends, is clear. It's now. And I'm not waiting 4 years. I'm waiting 2 until a speaker by the name of Hakeem Jeffries comes to bring us some rest. Come on, ladies. It's up to us. We saved this democracy before. We'll save it now.
I think she's cooked.
You motivated? I'm motivated. Who wants to run through a brick wall with me? Let's do it. Come on.
I don't want to run through a brick
Speak
wall
for yourself.
She's really shifty in the way she's moving, the physical movements. She's either gearing up, and like that energy to me doesn't scream confidence. It screams, oh crap. But we'll see. We shall see. Like I said, she laid the rules out for how this is played in New York. And if she didn't follow the rules, I don't really care if the Donald Trump administration, if it's petty. I think Trump is super petty. And if she broke the law, maybe she just has to pay the consequences.
What goes around comes around. I feel that's exactly what this is it not?
Yeah. So I taught my daughters, well, my oldest daughter, my youngest will get there. Karma's only a witch if you are, except for it's a little different than that. It's one of my favorite phrases.
A witch.
I don't believe karma as a religious
sure
philosophy, but it's kind of true. Karma's only a witch if you are. Let's take a quick break. Charles Gasparino is going to be with us when we come back. We're going to talk a little bit about this possibility that China might have some SEC concerns on their hands here in the United States. Getting the experts on with us. Fox Business senior correspondent, New York Post columnist, of course. Charles Gasparino next on the Annie Fry Show.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Retirement Advisory Group wants you to know that one phone call, you'll be able to set up a free sit-down conversation with the folks at with Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, the folks at Retirement Advisory Group, to secure your retirement. You want a worry-free retirement? I think that's what we're all kind of going for eventually. You might be closer to it than I am. If you are concerned about the ups and downs in the market, if you aren't 100% sure that you've made the right moves in that transfer, that shifting from working into retirement, that's a special period. You need to make some smart moves with everything you've worked for at that time. Don't miss out on these smart moves. Don't forget to do them. Maybe you don't know what you don't know. The Retirement Advisory Group knows what you don't know, and they're there to help you. Like I said, a free consultation, no cost, no obligation review of your retirement. Set it up at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And you can tell them Annie sent you, and you just like to have a chat. Hire them if you like them after that phone call. It's up to you. RetirementKey.com.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact-check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This could be the number one tax saving strategy for your retirement savings, and it's hidden inside IRS tax code section 1.408A-4. Discover what it is and how you can make your money go further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by advisors from from financial and tax architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis, and you'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing Social Security, paying for health care, and more. And they do it for free, but bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are a few openings left for classes this month, so register now by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
Celebrate April with store-wide savings on all in-stock jewelry at the Diamond Shop, located at 12 North Central in Clayton. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. Stop in today.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
If you wanna roll me, then you gotta roll me all night long. And if you wanna use me, then you gotta use me till I'm gone.
Speaks volumes about the number of countries we have seen come to the table reaching out to this administration to cut deals. It's because the entire world knows they need to do business with the United States of America. And China knows that too, Sean. And as President Trump directed me to say yesterday, it remains true tonight. The ball is in China's court. They need to do business with the United States. They need the best thing on the face of the planet, and that is the American consumer. And we are the best place in the world to do business. The rest of the world knows that, and that's why Japan was here today to negotiate a trade deal.
So we are watching President Trump and the implementation of his tariffs and the great negotiation, the art of the deal, of course, as he literally wrote the book on it, trying to figure out how we're going to negotiate with all of these countries. And we see Donald Trump engaging aggressively with these countries who have come to the negotiating table and then fiercely push back on those who chose to retaliate. I think the biggest one, of course, is China. That's the big key to all of this. How is the president going to get a favorable outcome with the implementation of tariffs on China, their reactions? Coming to us today to get an expert on this is Fox Business senior correspondent and, of course, New York Post columnist Charles Gasparino. Charles, welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm reading through this article that you have featured, if people want to read in depth on what you've put together in the New York Post, about the possible delisting of these Chinese companies. You have written here that nearly 300 Chinese companies represent more than $1 trillion in the market value, trade on U.S. markets, namely the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ Composite. Can you talk to us a little bit about this reaction of what this would mean with this potential delisting?
Well, I mean, it's just another tool in the trade war, I guess, so to speak. You know, what the people pushing the delistings will say, and that's Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, the senator, Rick Scott of Florida, is that this goes beyond, just part of the trade war. This is literally these companies not fully disclosing the ties to China, the sort of details of those ties. So remember what they're saying. I'm not saying it's the case. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There are disclosures in a lot of these companies about this CCP and its influence, but that's at least what these companies are saying, and these congressmen are saying. And the other thing I think they would say, and this is kind of interesting, is like, okay, even if they do disclose it, why is that so good? This is do we want this? I mean, is this something that you want is this something that we want to finance? Because you are financing China Inc. We're giving them access to our capital markets. These companies are, under the sort of thumb of the Chinese Communist Party. There's no doubt about that. Should we be doing it anyway, even if they do disclose every single last bit of it? So that's kind of where we are right now. And Paul Atkins assured Rick Scott that he will look at this stuff.
Yeah, I think that it's, from where I sit as a very novice, grateful that I have the opportunity to speak to experts like you on the economics of all of this. What President Trump is doing is transformational. It's like a resetting of the foundation of our economic system. And when we had you on last, Charles, it was like either the day before or the day of the tariff implementation, Liberation Day, as the president calls it. And you were very cautious about being, super pro tariff and concerned about what would happen. Hopeful that maybe Donald Trump is, of course, successful in his endeavor, because the alternative is not going to be great for the country. How do you feel this far into the implementation of it? Do you see that the president is having some success?
I think he will. I think he will have some success. I don't know enough right now where we are. I think you can make a very strong point that, this is a very complicated subject, right? I mean, obviously, right? I mean, we're talking about, upending a huge chunk of the economy that has been going a certain way for years. And now we're taking it and just doing a wicked left turn on it. So that's going to cause a lot of indigestion. I think, I'm not saying that it wasn't needed, because it would be nice to manufacture more stuff here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we had COVID, we had to go to China for masks. I mean, that's kind of crazy, The country that gave us COVID, we had to use them to use their, beg them for masks.
Yeah.
So I will say that's kind of not what you want. My point is that, so he's on firm ground with his argument. Now, the approach is where this thing gets interesting. And, could we have done this differently? Could we have waited until we have the tax cuts through, the economy humming? You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because this really is a wicked left turn. I mean, this is like, whoa.
Yeah, when it comes to transformational economic policies, of course, the tariff plan is a huge thing, but also the tax cuts being made permanent that you have to get through Congress, huge thing. And then also Doge and everything that Elon Musk is looking to find and claw back and cost cutting, huge. You got these three massive economic changes in direction, forks in the road, so to speak. And you got to juggle a lot of it. I've heard people say that the reason to do the tariff thing so quickly is that, as you said, manufacturing needs to come back to the United States. And in order to actually, he's got to negotiate these deals. But the case that was made to me, as I'm sitting here watching Fox Business at home and trying to learn as much as I can, was that the sooner that you implement deals based on these tariffs, the sooner the ball starts rolling on manufacturing back in the country. You can't snap your fingers and, there's a factory and a whole bunch of jobs and we're making widgets here. Is that part of the reason why the president prioritized this so early in his presidency in the second term, is so that we can see some manufacturing before he's done?
I mean, I'm sure that's the reason. The question is, was it the right reason? I still question whether we needed to go there so soon, given everything else that we needed to do. It seemed to me that, he had a lot on his plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Might have been, and by the way, getting the economy moving at 3% growth and cutting debt will bring a lot of jobs, will create a lot of jobs. I mean, I think the notion that we're not creating enough jobs is kind of like, is not right. I mean, getting the economy going will create jobs. And I think some of this could take care of itself, and it puts you in a better bargaining position when you're bargaining from strength. You see what I'm saying? So
sure.
I do think that, that this is going to be, this isn't just me. This is going to be debated like ad nauseum over the next year. And particularly if these trade deals don't get done fast.
Yeah. We're speaking with Charles Gasparino, the Fox Business senior correspondent, a New York Post columnist. You can read his article on the SEC actions against these Chinese companies. You highlighted here that it's complicated. And I'll tell you this, when it comes to preparing to do an interview, I have to study more on these tariff conversations and the economic conversations than I do on other things because they're so complicated that I'm trying to make sure that I can ask intelligent questions so that go ahead.
It's hard to know where to begin and where to end because there's tariffs upon there's a baseline tariff and then there's extra tariffs and then there's possibly some exemptions. So it's hard to know where to go with this.
Well, and the thing that I find from where I sit just outside of it and having access to people like you, but also access to people who are pundits, who are political pundits, the more complicated any topic is. Foreign policy can very much be the same thing. The more complicated it is, the more room politics has to come in and kind of take over, and you stop talking about policies and like the things that are actually happening, and it just becomes more red versus blue or my guy versus your guy. What is it that you want the novice out there watching their 401k, watching the stock market, very concerned about their own personal position in all of this? What is it that you really want those people to know that might be getting swept up in the politics of the matter?
Well, that there is no right or wrong answer here. Let me back off. President Trump was on really strong grounds, demanding that the country get fair trade deals. There is no doubt about that. We've been getting screwed for years. China is, it's a very aggressive, some would say, exploitative country when it comes to trade and many other things. So, he's on strong ground. This is not. He's not making this up, just so you know. The Democrats make you think he's making it up. Now, there is also a theory that maybe he should have waited. Maybe this was not the right time to do it. And I think, that I think is a more nuanced view of this, that he could have, this could have been saved, for another time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we'll have to watch and see if Trump was right on that, and the possibility that he was wrong exists. I think that's where I want to make sure that I'm always being an honest broker with people who are listening to the show. Is like, we have to take the facts for what they are and wait and see what happens. I've heard people suggest as well, this is just, theories that I'm finding. I'm interested in your opinion on it, that if the president is to tank the economy to some extent, intentionally, maybe, that there's an opportunity to refinance some debt that would be beneficial. Maybe it causes rates to come down, and that's beneficial for Main Street. Is there any value to that thought process?
Well, if we can get the debt down, it would be great. But it's hard to get the debt down when your economy's not growing, and there's going to be some impact on the tariffs. It's going to hurt the economy. Now, whether you think it's going to bring back jobs in a couple of years, there's going to be an economic impact. I mean, you're already seeing it. So remember, that's where this thing gets very, very tricky. And in terms of the markets, if you're talking about purely as a small investor, markets generally hate this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like predictability is what the market thrives in, and this is the opposite.
The more this goes on, like in a with no end, no light at the end of the tunnel, the worse it's going to be. I will say this, I just put it on Twitter, and you should follow my Twitter page because you'll get like up to the minute stuff, that they believe there's substantial progress on the Japanese talk. So, we may have a deal with Japan, kind of, which would be a good thing. That's a big trading partner.
Yeah. Well, at C Gasparino on X for people who want to follow you and stay up to minute. I know a lot of people are paying a lot of attention to this. Charles, we thank you for your insight. We look forward to having you back because we like the way that you talk straight on the issues and the matter. It's not political. You're good at that, and you're consistent at that. So we're grateful for your time today.
I much appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye. Charles Gasparino there, Fox Business senior correspondent, New York Post columnist as well. You should follow him at X on X at C Gasparino. Two A's in Gasparino, and listen to what he has to say. He's never really been a Trump apologist in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate that about him because I think we can all listen with a discerning ear, and I can tell when people are looking at what's going on, there's a lot of people, I'm not speaking for Charles, of course, but there's a lot of people who have a lot of trepidation about what is taking place right now. They're hopeful that Trump is right. They know that something has to shift in the way that we manage our economic system, that it's not tenable the way it is and has been, that we do need something significant to change. The status quo has to change, and Trump is not afraid of that. And it seems to me that folks like Charles and other experts, if they're questioning anything, they're questioning the timing. I think it was Maria Bartiromo that said on one of the Fox News primetime shows, it might have been Laura Ingraham, and she was talking about how he has to do the tariff stuff now because these deals are going to involve negotiations to start manufacturing goods and services here in the United States. And when that happens, you have to start that process early so you can see the benefits of it early. And if you do it and it lays over an election year where potentially the Democrat wins next time, all of this could be for naught. And that's something that Trump is not willing to risk. Let's take a quick break. We've got Wiggins America. What did he say? Younger, smarter, and better, or something like that. I can't remember what Ethan calls it, but we're going to have Ethan in here, and he's got, let me pull this up here. He sent me a message. He's like, I don't know if this is going to be okay. And I was like, I think that sounds like it's absolutely perfect. I found a list of passive-aggressive ways to share your displeasures with someone as an idea for Wiggins America. And then he said, if you're not a fan, I can keep looking. I said, big fan. Passive-aggressive ways to share your displeasures with folks. With Ethan Hannaford next.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show.
You're gonna hurt me.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
No matter how you work it, things go wrong. I put my heart where it don't belong. So if you're coming with me, let me know. Maybe you're the last train. Maybe you're the last train home.
TheDiamondShop.net wants you to know that they got some deals right now for you when you go visit them in Clayton. I am so happy to be partnered with the Diamond Shop. Honestly, my longest partner that I've ever had here on the Annie Fry Show. I worked with the Diamond Shop when I was doing Saturdays, and they're great people. And I'm always excited to tell people, you got to check out the folks at the Diamond Shop because you're going to feel great about the process, even if you're just going in and you're looking. You are not going to be pressured. You're not going to have a hard sale on you. They are there to help you, guide you, provide you advice, and make sure that when you walk out, you become an ambassador for the Diamond Shop because you loved your experience there so much. In April, Diamond is the birthstone. You can save 40% on in-stock diamonds right now. If you are having a diamond purchase in your future, this is the time to get into the Diamond Shop and save a lot of money. 30% off all in-stock jewelry throughout the course of the month, but 40% off in-stock diamonds. Go visit them in Clayton or online at thediamondshop.net.
It's time to get outside and enjoy the great outdoors. Mark Cox here from my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, where they've got a great deal for you right now. Mention Mark when you call them, and you're going to get 20% off your next outdoor project, and the options are just about limitless. They will help you design your project if you already know what you want in your backyard, or they'll bring a digital photo gallery and let you see maybe what your neighbors have been doing. And then you can go in and you can pick the project that works best for you. Maybe it's a new sunroom. Maybe it is a pergola, a patio, the retaining walls. The list is long. You're going to love working with my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They have financing options available with up to 60 months at 0 interest. And right now, remember, you get that 20% off when you reach out and tell them Mark Cox sent you. All you have to do is go online today to chesterfieldfence.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Brian Kilmeade.
Letitia James, a left-wing radical, has decided, they looked into her background. She lied on financial forms, just like Trump. Rules are rules, no matter how powerful you are.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Do you celebrate Easter? We've got 3 options here for you. Yes, as a religious holiday. Yes, as a secular holiday. Or no, I don't celebrate Easter. I hate everything. So jump on Annie's YouTube. Jump on Annie's YouTube page, youtube.com/@AnnieFry, Fry spelled Frey, and vote in the poll, and then leave us a comment saying why you voted the way you voted, even if you want to stick it to me. So the time is 12:44. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Picture perfect, you don't need no
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! You need to. I'm serious about this. Put this on our list for when Ryan gets back. Brad, we need Ryan to make an Ethan version of the Wiggins America, and Ryan has free reign.
Oh,
see, that's the part that makes me nervous.
I know, but it'll be fun for everybody else.
Yes.
Okay. In true Wiggins fashion, doing something
Unless, Ethan,
that will cause me to suffer, but will be for the joy for everyone.
unless you want to make an intro.
Wiggins.
There you go.
It's all yours,
Yeah.
buddy boyo.
You can do what you want with it, but we could just let Ryan do the work for it and get to play while he does it.
I
Do
think that
the work.
all parties would agree.
Yeah.
that is the best option.
Yeah, we'll just have Ryan create it and give it to Brad, and you can hear it for the first time the next time you fill in.
Okay, sounds
like it.
good. Would either of you consider yourselves to be passive aggressive?
Yeah.
Yes.
If I need to be.
Brad?
See, what I did there was not passive
no,
aggressive.
I
It was
don't-
just answering the question.
I
Yeah,
don't
I know.
know that I do passive aggressive. If things are aggressive, I just do regular aggressive.
I don't think that I am nearly as passive aggressive as I used to be. I feel like I used to back when I lived at home. I
Yeah.
feel like I was way more passive aggressive with my family than I am now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty straight up.
I'm gonna say that in the things that you did when you were a child, the way you were when you were a child, should not be a bird. If you are not that person as an adult, I don't know that the way you were in your nuclear family is who you really are. Does that make
Sure.
sense?
Yes.
And I think other people might say, no, that's exactly who you really are. But you live with the same people forever, and you're growing up as a kid. I was super mouthy. We were all talking about this before. We were all mouthy kids, really, really good angel children outside of the home. Inside of the home,
Demons.
well,
Straight
yes,
demons.
Your words. My parents might agree. But I mean, just if I saw it differently, I was absolutely going to say so.
Fair enough.
But I think that people spend the rest of their life trying to outrun what childhood was.
Mhm.
And if you were a passive aggressive child to your parents, there's no relationship in your life that's like the one you have with your parents. So you gotta let that go. But you're not passive aggressive now.
I don't think so.
Are you regular aggressive like Brad?
No. No, I guess I do have
No.
I do have moments sometimes where my wife would be like, "You all good?" I'm like, "Yeah," but I'm really not good.
She
so
knows.
yeah, she usually knows. She'll look at me and she'll wait. But she does this. I do the same thing with her too. So, but we all know people that are passive aggressive, and some of us even in this room apparently are. And I would argue that most of people, to a certain extent, express either their frustrations or their irritation in passive aggressive ways, on the occasion at least. So I found a list of the most polite sayings or gestures that communicate that you're just not having it. So throughout I want to hear from your guys. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on these. If you guys have any of your own sayings or go-to gestures, or if you've heard of any of these as well. So this list comes from Reddit. So this is straight from the people. The first one is very direct. Instead of I know we've talked about road rage being expressed, Annie, in the past on Wiggins America. The first one, instead of flipping off another driver, blow them a kiss
Holy cow.
or
No.
give them a thumbs up.
I do zero road rage. I am super opposed to road rage because I've been on the other end literally of a gun from somebody who is engaging in road rage.
Mhm.
And I just tend into looking straight ahead.
Straightforward.
Yeah. I drive how I drive. I'm not a super aggressive. I drive fast, but I'm not in the business of cutting people off. Like, nobody needs to know something about me because of the way I drive.
Is that the same everywhere, or is it different how you drive in the city or in this area compared to more closer to around home?
No, I'm a big defensive driver in that I'm not being defensive. I'm expecting everybody to run a stoplight, run a stop sign, swerve into my lane.
Sure.
And I don't get in fights with cars. That's stupid. So I just try to be. It's probably the place in my life where I am the most submissive to letting people do what they do.
Brad?
I'm the opposite.
Let's hear it, aggressive man.
No, like you said, blow a kiss or that. You know what? If I do anything, and it's usually if somebody's like freaking out in the car next to me, I just give them a thumbs down.
Oh my gosh.
Very direct. Bad. Thumbs down. Bad boy. Bad man.
Boo.
That's how you get a gun in your face.
Well, that's the thing, is I feel like how I treat other drivers varies on where I am. In the city,
yeah,
I ain't doing anything. I am.
Because of the repercussions.
Yeah.
Yes. Because of, I guess,
Now, what about when you're in Bethalto?
when I'm in Bethalto
Thumbs
or even St. Charles, I'm very like giving glares as I pass by.
What's your go-to word? What's your go-to name to call people? I say jackwagon. All right, jackwagon. That's what I say.
I don't think I can say mine on air.
Mine used to not be
That might get me in
jackwagon,
trouble with
but I
Steve
have
or Trisha.
Cars or kids in the car, and so my word turned into jackwagon.
Good for you. You're a better person than me. I will
What's your
say
start with?
I've gotten better at this as I've gotten
What's it start
older.
with?
What? D. It's dumb something.
Wagon?
Yeah, wagon.
Dumb
wagon. You dumb butt.
Yes. That's a good one. That's a good
Dumb
that's a good one.
bottom. My mom wouldn't even say butt around us growing up. Okay.
Oh,
The
that's
next
why you're
one.
so sweet.
No kidding.
That's why. The next one. Have the day you deserve. Holy passive aggressive.
That's what you're supposed to say to people.
That's the
That
that's
is
the
super
second
passive.
one on this list. Have the day you deserve.
See, that's not passive aggressive. That's super aggressive.
No, I feel like that's still like relatively passive aggressive.
Do you ever say that to someone
No,
who should
I-
have a good day?
No, I wouldn't.
Ethan, have the day you deserve. You deserve a great day.
That's passive aggressive.
Day you
I'm
deserve.
not. No, I think you do. If I said it to Ryan, then people would have to interpret. Ryan, have the day you deserve. And he would be like very happy to say, okay, well,
Probably. He
Yeah.
wouldn't think twice about it. The next one is noted. If someone is rude or a jerk and sends a long ranting email, it says replying with a one-word answer is the worst because
Noted.
of how dismissive it is.
yeah, probably done that.
Brad?
Have I used noted?
Or just something like that, like just a one word. Like you see that a lot. Like,
I like
my girlfriend sent this super long text, really upset with me, and then I just said okay.
okay. Is it worse to have the letters okay or OKAY period?
They're the same in my mind, but when
Okay.
you bring out the K,
Mhm.
oh, then you know you're in trouble.
Just
one
the
letter.
K?
Like I don't
Just
even have
one
time for the
letter.
O.
Yeah.
Then you know you're in trouble. Something's wrong.
What about the double K, KK? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I
Because-
say
It's a kid thing.
I say KK all the time.
But
And the
is-
thing is, it just started within the last 3
is
months.
it a good thing or a bad thing? Because when I get it, I need to know
I
that.
think it's just confirmation. I think
Okay.
it's neutral.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's neutral, so I shouldn't read into any of that.
I wouldn't. In fact, I've started saying KKD KK as of recent. That's my new one.
You should have the day you deserve, right?
You almost called.
Right.
The next one I've
Comes
heard
naturally.
I've heard plenty, but I've never thought of it in a passive aggressive way. Bless your heart is on the
Oh,
list.
that's the most
Oh,
passive
yes.
aggressive phrase from the South. Yeah. That basically means, I think it was Scott Presser was in New Jersey and they said, he asked New Jerseyans, is that what you call them?
the
what-
Joysons.
What? Yeah, exactly. What is your bless your heart? And what do you remember the exact phrase?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was go
Go
blank.
F yourself.
Really?
That's how New Jersey folks say bless your heart. Have people been saying this to you a
but
lot?
you said
Ethan?
it was you said it
I
was
don't
a
think
down you said it was a down south thing, but then it
Bless
was
your heart is a down south thing.
But this
Scott
was just
Pressler was talking to
Jersey.
people
Okay.
in New Jersey, and he's
Got it.
like, "How in New Jersey do you say the phrase "bless your heart"?" And it was to go.
Okay, got it.
yourself.
Go ahead. Wow. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, they don't do passive aggressive out there.
People do say "bless your heart" to me a lot, so maybe that's I'm gonna have to start viewing that differently. The next one is "You've genuinely been wonderful." They know it's an insult because it's over the top, and they obviously haven't
The
been
phrase
wonderful.
"You've genuinely been wonderful."
Mm-hmm. You ever heard that one before?
No.
I haven't either.
Maybe I've never genuinely been wonderful.
Just smile. A McDonald's worker shared this one. Don't respond, just smile and watch their blood boil. I could see that in like a
Just
restaurant.
reply
or,
with,
like,
"I feel the same about you."
I'll pray for you. You ever use that one in a passive aggressive way?
No, that seems a little sacrilege to me.
A little bit. Be that as it may, let them rant, then hit them with the "be that as it may" and shut it down. It sounds old school and polite, like you're validating them, but you're really saying, yeah, no. Number 9.
Be that as it may, which is basically like, okay, you said some things. Now here's how it's going to go. Yeah.
Number 9, how amusing for you. It's supposedly something that Queen Elizabeth would say if she thought you were an idiot. Which I
How
thought that was
amusing for you.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one.
It's like a simple minds are entertained easily.
And the last one, this one I don't see any passive aggressiveness in. This is pretty straight up, but just has an extra word on top of it. F you, please. Adding please to it. I don't know what's passive aggressive about that.
F or if?
EFF. F you, please.
Oh. I was going to say, if you please.
No.
No, it's the different
It's
angle.
not actually F.
Yeah. Why would you?
That doesn't
Why
seem
would-
that doesn't seem
You can't-
passive aggressive
you can't
at
say
all to me.
something
That is
super
so straight up.
profane and angry and rude, and then just say
Just say
please, on the
please, and
end.
then all of a sudden it's okay.
But I said please. It was polite.
Yeah, exactly. So the funny thing about this list is then it had a list of people that you're likely to use some of these with. So I
Coworkers.
quickly want to go through a couple of these. The Jiffy Lube guy listing all the extra services that your car needs. Whoever put the new razor in that impossible to open blister packaging.
Yeah.
The construction crew we see eating lunch after we spent an hour in traffic because they shut down a lane. Oh, that one gets me going.
You give him a thumbs down while you drive by.
Boo!
Eat your lunch, get back to work.
Anyone with a clipboard outside of your front door. Parents who bring their newborn to a movie. That's a bad one. Why would you do that?
I brought a newborn to a movie.
Why'd you do that, Annie?
I think it was Inside Out.
Maybe he doesn't understand the movie.
I know, but I didn't want to pay a babysitter while I was paying $100 to take my other kids to the. I mean, she slept through the whole thing. Nobody would have known she was there.
That's fair
The
enough.
problem is the baby that won't stop crying and disrupting. Then you have to do something differently.
The person on the elevator who lets the doors close even though they saw us coming. That might be the worst of all of them.
You just
can give them a thumbs down as we watch them close.
F you, please.
Yeah, exactly. I love all the suggestions in the YouTube chat of other passive aggressive things that we can put into practice here on the Annie Fry Show. Tyrus will be with us next in no connected nature there. And also we're going to speak with Will Chamberlain in the 1 o'clock hour. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Do you celebrate Easter? We'll be right back.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim. And if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSupercenter of St. Louis.com. That's GeneratorSupercenter of St. Louis.com.
Experience the exhilarating atmosphere of a Cardinals game. Join the sea of red in the wave around the stadium. Feel the rush of excitement as a home run lights up the sky with fireworks, bringing the whole ballpark to their feet. Nothing beats the thrill of watching the Cards get the W with the final out at the plate. It's more than a game. It's an experience. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Game tickets? Check.
A round of cold beers? Check.
Ballpark hot dogs? Check.
Baseball is back, and nothing beats a night out with the guys.
Or ladies.
At a Cardinals game.
From thrilling games and mouthwatering eats to the iconic ballpark energy, Busch Stadium is the ultimate spot for you and your crew to dive into America's favorite pastime.
Make your next night out the best one yet. Join us at Busch Stadium, where every hour is happy.
For tickets, visit Cardinals.com.
St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A shooting at Florida State University. This is a Fox News alert. I'm Kevin Uretsky. Students and faculty at that school being told to shelter in place this afternoon as the FBI and police respond to reports of an active shooter on campus. Fox's Steve Harrigan with more.
All this happened just after noon near the Student Union in Tallahassee, Florida State University. It's already a very heavy law enforcement presence at the scene, as well as firefighters. A hospital in Tallahassee has said they have been receiving patients from the incident at FSU. Police say they have taken one person into custody.
Local media reporting that 4 are injured. The president has been briefed. He made these comments a short time ago from the Oval Office.
It's a shame. It's a horrible thing, horrible that things like this take place.
The president on the apparent shooting at Florida State. In other news, the markets are uncertain, but the president is not. Fed Chair Jerome Powell suggesting President Trump's tariffs could drive up inflation, but Mr. Trump says Powell is always late and wrong about cutting interest rates.
We had a meeting yesterday with Japan. As you know, we've had numerous talks, very, very at the highest level, frankly, with other countries. Yeah, we're doing very well, and we're moving along on trade very well.
The president speaking today as he hosts Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, at the White House, trying to smooth the way on tariff talks with Europe. He's saying that they should be able to get a deal done with Italy, saying earlier today that it will be a fair deal. Again, recapping our top story, a shooting reported this afternoon at Florida State University. Local media reporting 4 are injured. A local hospital saying they are treating several people. Their conditions have not been officially revealed. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Windy and 75 for the high this afternoon. Couple of thunderstorms here and there. Tonight it's dry, partly cloudy, but very mild. 66. Friday, partly sunny, windy with some showers around. 83. Pretty good shot of strong to severe thunderstorms. Scattered variety, but around on Friday night. And then a touch cooler, but unsettled over the Easter weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Rulerfoods.com. Go to the website and find the Ruler Foods that's closest to you because you need to save on that grocery cart that you'd like to fill up. And of course, things have been a little bit rough lately. Everything costs more, but not at Ruler Foods. You can save there. Did you know that they carry Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices? And these are great brands. We shop Kroger brands all of the time, and you can save when you do that. You can also save on the name brands that you love as well. They have an Easter dinner right now that you can get at Ruler Foods for less. If you're feeding a family of 8, you can spend less than $40, and you're going to enjoy all those favorites: a juicy ham, au gratin potatoes, fresh veggies, Hawaiian rolls. You get dessert with that as well for less than $40 to feed 8 people. This, if you've never had a reason before specifically to go to Ruler Foods, this is the reason to go check out Ruler Foods. For that Easter dinner you're getting ready to prepare, save on those groceries at Ruler Foods. Find your Ruler Foods at rulerfoods.com.
Baseball is back, and this season there are more ways than ever to watch your Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Network. As always, you can watch FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. New for 2025, you can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals without blackouts. And for a limited time, you can get started with a 30-day free trial using code CARDS30DAY when you sign up at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com. Visit Cardinals.com/TV to learn more.
If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Deport all undocumented immigrants. Voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority. The American people have come a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump. And I think that's a big part of the reason why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy, and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
Well, you know Tyrus from being a regular on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, and he's traveling the country and seeing people live, and you can see him next in Middleton, Ohio. Looks like May 17th is that day. Tyrus, welcome back to the show. Happy Easter week. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
So I just played a clip there from CNN, Harry Enton. He's always giving, it's funny to me because he's always giving people on CNN bad news, which kind of feels like good news to me. But it seems as though the American public has shifted on the idea of deporting all illegal immigrants. I wanted to know from you, with this Garcia, this El Salvadoran MS-13 gang member, also known as a Maryland dad, why are the Democrats picking this guy to push back against President Trump's immigration and deportation plans?
Man, I think Greg Gutfeld said it best on the 5 and reiterated again on Gutfeld last night. Like this is the dumbest issue. No one should really care about this individual. He just doesn't. It's just such a slap in the face to the American people in general. I think I saw a stat somewhere that I think it was like CBS and maybe it was MSNBC or a couple major news networks. They covered his story like over 68 times and actual victims 0.
Right.
And this guy's not a martyr. This is like a George Floyd other situation where you're trying to make something to fit a narrative that's not there. Or the deeper thing is they're trying to use this to set up what's look like it's going to come down the line where we're going to see a lot of the embezzlement that's been going on the last 4 years and payouts and misuse of American funding. So I think if they try to set the narrative that the administration is disappearing people and they're arresting people, that when it happens to them, they're going to try to say this is the beginning of it. I try to logically put my head around it, and it just comes off as dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely dumb.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the head scratcher because it seems so obvious that there are things that the Democrat Party could hone in on that would potentially resonate with voters who they clearly are not in touch with right now. What are the issues that you think the Democrats could be chasing after, or the bipartisan issues that the Trump administration is paying attention to that Democrats could support without having to compromise their principles?
It's been 4 years of head scratching. It's always, we always hear it the 80-20. No, this is a 99-1 issue. And they still seem to, and because the progressives don't represent anyone but an individual with an agenda. So I think that's the connection here, is because this has been again another one of these things where they try to pick, instead of, they can't win the argument, so they try to say, well, what about this one person? And again, this guy, the senator that went there, I mean, it just goes back to what I've said. The problem with dumb people is not just that they're dumb, because we know they're dumb, is that they're dumb so they don't know that they're dumb. So they think they're brilliant and they're dumb. And going to El Salvador or Venezuela or whatever it was to go, I guess he was going to go, stand outside the prison and demand they release him? I mean, what was he going to do?
Yeah. And they were like,
he's going to get arrested, and he's going to end up getting arrested get arrested over there, dummy. And then who's he going to call to try to get himself home? The White House. Like, it's moronic. There's no polite way to address this. It's not a debatable issue. This is, are you kidding me?
Tyrus is speaking with us right now. You can check out his latest book. It's out, Enough Said, follow-up to Just Tyrus, both very good reads. I encourage you to look into those books and get them wherever books are sold, or audiobooks. That's how I take them in. Tyrus, I want to ask you about the Katy Perry, Gayle King, Bezos. When Katy Perry, I was indifferent on this issue until they came back and they're like, I hope for world peace now because we did this.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
The virtue signaling of the overprivileged. They were calling it, you went on a ride.
Okay? You said
you went
ride.
on a ride. You went up the whole, I coined the phrase. You went up for 11 minutes. You were in outer space for 42 seconds. You came down and had the temerity, the unmitigated gall to act like you're ever changed the world. You got on the ground and kissed the ground as if you had been up in space waiting for
9 months
to come home. Like you discovered 4 forms of life and a edible a space vegetable that grows on the stars. And then they kept calling themselves astronauts. You're a talk show host, not an astronaut. You talk on a show. No one, it's just laughable. Katy Perry, I left all the love. And that you went up so fast and came down. The only thing that was proven to me is that you are more buoyant in the air when you have a lot of plastic surgery done. That's the only thing that we saw. If you're taking selfies on a spaceship and got flowers and and rolling around. Yeah, you're bringing in organic objects on a space mission that could have been contaminated there, Katie. Not too well thought out because it was a ride. You went on a ride. Stop acting like you did something. You didn't invent the wheel. You went on a ride, and then you're virtue signaling stupid speeches. They were dumb. They were the worst speeches I ever heard, and I've heard some doozies. I listened to Joe Biden for 4 years, and he made more sense than all the diversity, and it was so quiet. What is wrong with you people? This is worse than someone saying, "Hey, listen to my demo tape." You know what I'm saying? Like or going to a karaoke concert where some guy like is singing Def Leppard, but he acts like he wrote the song. Like, what is wrong with you people?
That's like the point. You want to, if you have the opportunity to do something like that, that's cool. Take the opportunity, experience the experience. But is it the celebrity that these people enjoy that makes them think that the world is just waiting with bated breath for their message?
They're so enamored with themselves. They're so delusional. It's laughable. I mean, it's like if I caught a foul ball at a baseball game and then thanked the Red Sox for helping me win the World Series. And humanity has changed. Once I caught that ball, I realized that the world is round and that we're all on this little sphere together. And just like it fit in my hands, if we all held hands, see what I'm doing here? Yeah. I'm so full of it right now. It's not even funny. Like you would not let that person finish that sentence. Yeah. You would have them removed from the game for being weird.
Did you see the video of them like opening from the inside the door and then they close it and then Jeff Bezos goes and gets like a wrench and then opens the door again? There's some
what is your problem, Bezos? Don't get the wrench, okay? Leave them in there for a while. And if they stayed in there longer than 5 minutes, I guarantee you they'd have been furious.
Get me.
The speeches would have been angry that they were oppressed in there. They had to wait 5 minutes to get the door open. And they finally got out because they would be complaining. Imagine them on their plane if it doesn't open up when it lands. I'm sure they're furious. So we would have had a lot of Karen moments.
Would you go to space for 10 minutes?
I would go on a space ride for 10 minutes, but I wouldn't step out like I
would you kiss the ground
with God?
Would you would you take that trip if you could take that trip?
If I could fit in there, yeah. I don't know if I could fit, but I'd be like, wow, that was fun. I pretty much have done it. Anyone who's been to a carnival and went on the Hammerhead has done the same thing they did.
Oh man, Tyrus, I knew that was going to be fun to talk to you about. You've got a lot of shows. You're always laying them in. I say Middletown, Ohio. What do you all have coming up? You're so busy all the time. What do you got coming up for us?
Yeah, I got a big summer tour coming up. Of course, you can always catch me on Gutfeld. I just started working on book number 3, and I'll be touring all over the country. You can check it out on my Linktree on my social media, Linktree at Tyrus Smash for tickets, and then at all ticket venues. Tickets are still available. Not many left, but there's a few left, and we keep adding new cities. That's the nice thing about doing your own tours is that we can keep adding. People send me messages and they'll be like, "Hey, can you come to this city? Can you come to this city? If you got a theater, we can probably make it happen." So you can just send those requests to booktyrus@gmail.com. Can't get much easier than that.
That's wonderful. And I mean, I've been to a couple of your shows before, and
it all started with you guys. My first show was with you guys.
It's exciting. And I think that the cool thing that you do is you go to a lot of areas that are populated areas, but it's not like the super, like the big city where people have to go downtown or whatever. You're going to like where Americana is, and it's awesome. And you do multiple shows. The reason why I started doing that
was when they defunded the police. I didn't want my fans coming to shows in the big cities where they might be getting carjacked or not, so I started looking for cities that supported police, and that's what I started doing.
Well, it's wonderful, and it's well worth the drive for people to go grab one of those tickets that are remaining, and we encourage people to do that. Follow you on social media as well. Tyrus, we love you. Thanks for being with us again today. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Follow him at Planet Tyrus on X, and all his links are right there in his profile as well. His books, he said he's working on book 3. That's exciting. Read Just Tyrus. If you enjoy Tyrus, if you have enjoyed listening to him on this show, he's been coming on the show on Thursdays, I think since 2018. And of course has had a great ascent since then. And he has not ever taken us off of his obligations. He's always, sometimes he can't be with us. He's got a lot going on. But you all have a special place in Tyrus's heart, and we're grateful for the opportunity to connect you guys. All right, when we come back, I want to talk to Will Chamberlain. He is a senior counsel at the Article 3 Project. I'm going to play before we go to a break here. We know about this Letitia James prosecution from the Department of Justice. I played earlier in the show this video of Letitia James. She's ready to go. She's ready to fight. She is clearly not backing down, but I really feel as though she has a little bit of anxiety about her presentation. I mean, Brad, when you're watching that video, does she seem confident to you?
Yeah, I don't know that she's trying to convince her listeners as much as she's trying to convince herself. She's bouncing around. If you really, really listen to it, you can hear the shakiness in her voice. It's not a positive shakiness. It's not like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight. There's a little bit of fear there. There's a twinge of fear behind it.
Well, let's listen to, well, wait, no, this isn't about, there's another thing I'm going to talk to him about. It's these Title IX pushback from the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, who Donald Trump continues to compliment her as well. I'm going to play this for you, and we're going to talk to Will Chamberlain about both of these things when we come back. Here's the Attorney General of the United States talking.
The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety. I've met many of these women throughout the past weeks and months, and what they have been through is horrific.
So Pam Bondi speaking
the state of Maine is
about this Title IX fight. Remember when the governor of Maine was at the White House and President Trump kind of said, like, hey, Maine, you gotta get with the program here. We're not going to do this men and women's sports things anymore. And she said, I'll see you in court. And then Trump was like, okay, it's fine with me. Can we get Pam Bondi on the phone, please? And then here we are. So the lawsuit has been levied there. We need experts to talk about these legal things, and Will Chamberlain is the best. So we're going to talk to him when we come back, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project. And I'm going to start it off talking about Letitia James. Is she in real legal trouble? Is this lawfare? Are the Democrats going to be shaking their fists at the sky and saying this is just revenge? This is vengeful lawfare, dangerous threat to democracy, to watch the president use the justice system to try to take down his opponents? Kind of exactly like Letitia James did when he was running for president. Will Chamberlain will sort it out for us when we come back. And vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Join us on YouTube because I think Will Chamberlain's going to be with us in video form on the YouTube channel. Do you celebrate Easter? Yes, as a religious holiday. Yes, as a secular holiday. Or no, you don't celebrate it. Will Chamberlain next.
Small town, see how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Try that in a small town.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage is very, very up in the front of everything that's happening with the economy right now. Rates go up, rates go down. When you are looking to lock in those rates as they come down, you want to make sure that you are in contact with Stewie. You can start that conversation before you lock in the rate, of course. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Stewie's going to walk you through the bagel loan. You can't get the bagel loan anywhere other than Stewart's American Mortgage. So you're going to call. You're going to say, you can text him as well. You're going to say, I'm interested in a bagel loan. Maybe you're purchasing a new home and you need a mortgage. Maybe you want to refinance from those high loan rates that were out there in the last 3 years. You're going to say, I'm interested in the bagel loan. He's going to explain to you how you can get that mortgage and pay $0, no money in closing costs when you qualify for the bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage. And he can close super fast, less than 2 weeks, that he can have you up and running with your very own bagel loan, and it doesn't cost you to do it. 314-324-4440. Call or text. Google the bagel loan, and MLS number 226715.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save now with 2024 pricing and Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $1,700 on a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
You can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell.
I'm focused. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've been trained by the best. I went to Howard University. That overturned legal segregation in this country. I've been taught in those classrooms where Thurgood Marshall once taught. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you.
I think she already approved that to us, that she's going to go after Donald Trump. That's the Attorney General of the state of New York, the one that went after Donald Trump as a candidate, former president, of course, for fraud. It kind of makes me wonder how she knew to navigate such a weird situation with Donald Trump on the fraud that she alleged that he committed and, of course, got a conviction. She might have known a little extra about that fraud. Let's talk to our friend Will Chamberlain about it, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, which you can learn more about, article3project.org, and on X at Will Chamberlain. Will, welcome back. It's good to have you here.
Good to be with you, Annie.
The Letitia James suit from the Trump DOJ suggesting that she participated in mortgage fraud. Now, detractors are going to say, well, this is just lawfare from a president who's trying to engage in revenge. What are your thoughts on this? Is this a fair lawsuit coming from Pam Bondi and the DOJ?
I mean, it sounds like it. I'm not super deep on this particular lawsuit. I've been focused on the Abrego Garcia stuff, but I'll say what I do know about it is, I mean, apparently she falsely put that this was her primary residence when it was a completely out-of-state house, which is, I mean, it's really straightforward. If that's true, that's probably mortgage fraud because these loans are only supposed to go to people for their primary residences. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you got to think about, this is the woman who went after President Trump and tried, on a real estate issue. Remember, she's the person who said that Trump committed real estate fraud because he didn't value Mar-a-Lago at $20 million. When Mar-a-Lago is probably $1 billion property, if you know anything about how ridiculously expensive Palm Beach real estate is. So I'm not sympathetic to her. I think that there's probably, it looks like there's a real case here, and I expect her to have real trouble defending it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. I'm glad you brought up the Abreu Garcia conversation because we want to talk about that as well. I heard a clip earlier today from Hakeem Jeffries. I think he was at some sort of political town hall, and he stated that our plan from the jump is to sue. He wanted to sue the Trump administration as much as they possibly could. Now, politically, I'm watching the Democrats work overtime and decide to hold hands and kumbaya around this MS-13 member who they want to deem as a Maryland dad. It seems as though the facts bear out that is not a Maryland dad. And the Trump administration promised that they were going to deport the bad people that were illegal immigrants out of our country. And the Democrats are rallying around this guy as the face to push back against this policy. Are the Democrats misled?
Yeah, I think pretty badly, actually. They're misled, first off, because this story never would end with this guy in the United States again. The one thing everybody agrees upon is he's a removable illegal alien with no legal status in the United States. He applied for asylum and was rejected. He was rejected because his application was time barred. He applied in 2019 after he was detained by ICE, and he, by his own admission, crossed the border in 2012. You have 1 year from the time you cross illegally to make an application to apply for asylum.
Mm-hmm.
So all he had was this withholding of removal to El Salvador. That's it. And so that means he would have been removed somewhere else. But moreover, if, all the Department of Justice needed to do was just go to court, go to the immigration judge, say, guess what? Circumstances in El Salvador have changed. Gangs no longer run the country. Nayib Bukele has turned it into one of the safest places in the Western Hemisphere. There's no basis for him to feel a fear of persecution from gangs in El Salvador. He needs to go home.
So I see people saying about this guy, bring him home. Are you telling me that El Salvador, that Donald Trump did that, put him home?
That's that El Salvador sent him home. El Salvador is his home. He is an El Salvadoran national. He's not a legal permanent resident in the United States. He's not a U.S. citizen. The United States is not his home. He is an illegal immigrant. And I think that the fact that you have all the media and so many leftist activists, it gives away the game. What they're trying to do is get rid of the notion of legal immigration, get rid of the notion of citizenship, get rid of the notion of borders. Otherwise, you wouldn't be calling a guy who has no legal status in the United States a Maryland man.
So Will Chamberlain speaking with us right now with the Article 3 Project. In your mind, if we get into the brain of the Democrat Party or these Democrat activists trying to remake who Garcia is, do they not understand the facts of the situation? Are they so used to being able to create and manifest crises that they think that they can manipulate the American voting public into just believing their version of it for a political gain? Or are they just dumb and they don't get it?
I think it's a little bit of two dynamics. One is they're sympathetic to the project of facilitating illegal migration. So when they hear about a wronged illegal alien, they're like, we're all in. They're just predisposed to do that. But there is a part of this also that involves his lawyer misleading both the court and the public with the way that he framed his complaint, with the way he attempted to get this injunction. A really good example of this is they very strongly underplayed the evidence that Abreu Garcia is an MS-13. They suggested it was only the apparel he was wearing when he was arrested and an uncorroborated CI report. And then yesterday, when Pam Bondi releases additional documents, we find out that the key, really relevant piece of evidence that the guy is in MS-13 is that he was arrested with two other MS-13 members, two other heavily tattooed MS-13 members. Oh. This fact omitted from the complaint, omitted from all the public reporting, omitted from every one of these immigration advocates being like, there's no evidence that he's an MS-13. And then you read the document and you're like, wait a second, there absolutely is evidence that he was an MS-13, which we should have predicted because, of course, when he applied for bond back in 2019, when he was detained, the immigration judge said, he's a verified member of MS-13. You're not getting bond. The Board of Immigration Appeals heard that and agreed and affirmed the immigration judge. So we should have, the people who were getting way out ahead of their skis saying, there's no evidence, like we hadn't seen the evidence yet, but given what we had read about in these earlier court documents, it was pretty obvious the evidence was there.
So I want to play for you a little clip here from not the most stable Democrat voice out there, but nonetheless, he has a voice. Keith Olbermann, who every time I see a video from him on X, I'm like, that dude's not okay. He's not doing all right. But let's just listen into where he thinks that America needs to go.
The all-new Monday Countdown podcast. Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, and Tom Homan, the head of ICE, must be arrested immediately for contempt of court. They are defying court orders to return Mr. Abrego Garcia from captivity and torture in El Salvador. And they and Trump are on the verge of being in contempt of court of the Supreme Court. As Trump begins to indicate, he will not abide by its rulings about returning Abrego to this country. It is time to teach the Trump administration a lesson. The Trump administration is trying to teach the rest of us a lesson, which is that even if it makes a mistake, it will not correct it, and that we should all be afraid of being arrested even if we were born here. That's why dozens, perhaps hundreds of people born in this country, full residents, full citizens of this nation, received notices over the weekend that they had 7 days to leave America. It was just another administrative error.
I could stop him there. He said that the reason I play this is because this is what people on the left are hearing. And then when our friends and family get together for an Easter dinner on Sunday or whatever, and we're on opposite sides of the aisle, you got people who are listening to you, Will Chamberlain, on the Annie Fry Show, and you got people who are listening to Keith Olbermann saying, I think that Pam Bondi and Trump are going to get arrested because they're defying the Supreme Court. What's your response to Keith Olbermann?
Well, let's start with the easiest question. Who exactly do they plan on sending to arrest the Attorney General of the United States? She's in charge of all federal law enforcement. What including the U.S. Marshals, by the way. What are they going to send? They're going to send local Supreme Court staff over to the DOJ, waltz right into Pam Bondi's office, say you're under arrest, bring her to the non-existent jail at the Supreme Court, because of course the Supreme Court doesn't deal with detainees. What are they talking about? That's point one. Point two is obviously Keith Olbermann did not understand the Supreme Court's ruling. The Supreme Court acknowledged the executive branch's concern with the idea that they would have to effectuate Abrego Garcia's return to the country as being a violation of the president's Article 2 powers. This is a Salvadoran national in the custody of the Salvadoran government. Any forcible or coercive act by our president would be a very aggressive act of foreign policy, and that's something that an Article 3 judge has no jurisdiction, no authority to impose, to require. So they're just wrong. I mean, Keith hasn't read the briefing, doesn't understand that what the Supreme Court said is it's acceptable to order the government to facilitate his return, but facilitate in this context means to eliminate obstacles on the side of the United States, meaning send a plane, give him an entry visa, things that are totally within the government's control, that don't require any interaction with a foreign sovereign. Once you get into should the president interact with a foreign sovereign, you are squarely in Article 2, core Article 2 authority. The president is the sole organ of the nation in foreign affairs. The courts have no role. So Olbermann is wrong.
You know, I think I was
he's
listening.
Wrong on the law, and he's wrong on the ability of any of these people to be thrown in jail.
When I was listening to the El Salvadoran president sitting next to Donald Trump in the Oval Office, I think Pam Bondi was talking about this, and the press asked the El Salvadoran president, like, would you send him home? And he's like, why would I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? And I was like, well, at least he gets it. It seems like he understands what's best for the United States. I just don't understand why the folks like Keith Olbermann are working so hard to bring that guy back into the United States. Like, why is it, of all of the efforts that this Trump administration is making to purge the millions of people that the Biden administration have imported into this country intentionally, they want that guy back? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, they finally, it's like I don't know, it's like the dog that has a bone, right? Like they got this small bone, which is, they're right on this one point, which is, given the fact that this guy had a withholding of removal to El Salvador, he could not legally be deported to El Salvador, right? That's true. Trump administration has admitted it in its court filings. Everybody agrees this was an error, just an administrative error. But they don't want to give that up as like they're not willing to realize that everything else about the Abrego Garcia case is bad facts for them. This guy was a bad person. He was a wife beater, likely an MS-13 gangbanger, an illegal alien in the country for 7 years without ever once interacting with our authorities. And the real, once you actually dig into the story of this man, it's an indictment of our asylum system. It's an indictment of our, however our immigration courts are functioning, that this guy wasn't deported in 2019 when he was caught.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that if you were somebody who was supporting President Biden's then / Kamala Harris on the immigration issue, and you're just, the kindest of them all, the bleeding heart liberals who doesn't want to see anybody have a bad day ever, that when the immigration deportation stuff starts happening, the picture that you had in your mind of how bad it was going to be wasn't going to look like Abrego Garcia. It was going to be like a single mom or an old lady who's been here for a long time. You thought that was going to be the thing that the left championed, and it just appears that they don't have that yet.
Yeah, no, they don't have that because, credit to the Trump administration. They're doing a pretty good job of identifying criminals and of not making mistakes. Like, they did make a small one here, and the left has seized on it like crazy and apparently is going to make this MS-13 gangbanger their standard bearer. Maybe it's good to make a few small mistakes like this if this is what the left is going to respond with, if they're going to respond completely out of proportion and embarrass themselves when the facts are eventually revealed.
Yeah, well, you said to us, I think it was the last time we talked about like the transformative way that the Trump administration has come into here. They're doing big, big things. And like every political category, they're doing big things and challenging all the status quo across the board. Mistakes are going to be made. And I think it was you that explained to us that the system is set up to make it too scary to do big things. Like you pull yourself back, you restrain yourself, because the system will come out to get you, and the Trump administration just seems unafraid.
Yeah, no, that's the best thing about it. This is a different Trump administration. They were much more cautious in the first term, too cautious. They're being sufficiently aggressive this time, and it's really working and paying dividends.
It's refreshing to see. Will, we thank you for your time. Hope you have a great holiday weekend, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Thanks for having me, Annie.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye. Will Chamberlain, Senior Counsel at the Article 3 Project, a wonderful organization you should check out online if you want to learn more about their perspectives, their legal expertise on a lot of these issues. It's kind of like what I was talking about with Charles Gasparino from Fox Business earlier in the show, which is the less you know about the details, the weeds, so to speak, of these issues when it comes to legal matters, foreign policy, deep economics, when you're trying to comb through the mess that is tariffs, it's easy for us to sit here and go, well, I'm no expert on this. And then you listen to the politicos who come in and start to fill the space, the unknown, the gray area of these matters, because you may not be an expert and I might not be an expert, but I can tell you like, well, I'm on Team Trump. So you work yourself backwards into the situation. That's not good. The left is certainly doing that. The right will absolutely do that as well. I would assume that most people in politics would say that's the area where you can thrive and try to bring people in on an emotional appeal. I just don't think that Abrego Garcia is the guy who you're going to win people over with on your side of this issue politically. And they are using the gray area to try to win a political game when America has voted very much so against the policies that the left wants to insert into the game. Good to talk to Will. Let's take a quick break. Ethan will come back in and join us here shortly. We want you to vote with us on the YouTube live chat poll and tell us why you voted the way you did. Do you celebrate Easter? Yes, as a religious holiday. Yes, as a secular holiday. Or no, you don't celebrate it. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
My goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show.
Talking to the man from Galilee. He spoke to
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
He called my name and my heart stood still. When he said, John, go do my will. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is online at igotfloored.com. Flooring is an exciting thing to renovate in your home. You might be getting a new home and picking out your flooring for the very first time. If you've purchased a home and the flooring needs a refresh, you can really put your personal touches, your personal preference on that look, that feel, the coziness of your home. For instance, if you're installing carpet, you might be looking for that Mohawk Smart Strand carpet that delivers the superior performance that you want your investment to give you so that you can have a long-lasting, resilient carpet in your home. I personally love carpet. I love how comfortable it is when you've got littles and you can get on the ground with them and be comfortable. The smell of freshly installed carpet, running your hand over it when it's brand new and fresh. You're looking for that, and it can find it at Michael's Flooring Outlet. 3 locations across the St. Louis area. Easy to go in and shop in St. Charles County, West County, and Darden Prairie. But you can go online. Their website, igotfloored.com, has everything you need, the products that they carry, a way to contact them and request a free estimate, even an in-home consultation. Go shop at Michael's Flooring Outlet and start the process at igotfloored.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for New Perspective Senior Living, where your loved one will enjoy chef-prepared meals, engaging activities, state-of-the-art technology, and a welcoming community that feels like home. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. New Perspective, where every day is a chance to live life on purpose.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you're still healthy and qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
I put money into real estate, and from there came one of my largest returns on one of my properties, which is about close to 300% return in about 14 months.
That's Joe Cantu on what Lifestyles Unlimited has done for him. Join Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited for Expo 2025, May 7th through the 10th in Irving, Texas. Get hands-on training from successful investors and learn proven strategies that work. Save $100 when you text EXPO to 88007, EXPO to 88007.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: do you celebrate Easter? We got 3 options. Annie with the thumbs down. Thanks, guys. Ethan with the thumbs up. So
Not
Annie
passive.
doesn't.
It's okay. Mine was passive aggressive.
I celebrate Easter.
But then why'd you give me a thumbs down?
Me too.
I don't know. I just that's your it's your move.
It is my move, but it's a passive
It's
aggressive.
your passive aggressive move.
Today's poll: do you celebrate Easter? Yes. Religious holiday?
Just trying to
Yes.
screw you up.
Secular holiday? You're working.
Ryan's not here.
Or no.
I'm bored.
Ryan's not here. Oh man, this is great. The time. You know what? Jump on Annie's YouTube page. Vote in the poll. Tell Annie. Cheer up.
Come give on the YouTube live chat. Come give Brad either a thumbs down or a thumbs
Yes.
up.
All right. I like that. So you go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry, Frey, or you can just search Annie Fry on YouTube and the live stream will pop right up. Vote. I don't know. You might need to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, which we would greatly appreciate. Vote in the poll. Leave a comment. Tell us why you voted the way you voted. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And we might read your comment on the air. The time is 1:46. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Can't fight the temptation when
You know, the thing about giving Ryan crap is that he's almost unshakable. You know, like if I'm trying to get him off of his game, it's not an easy thing to do. He can roll with punches pretty much no matter what.
It's really impressive.
It is to watch it up close and personal, because you guys know the things that I will ask him or say to him. There's no like pregame conversation like, and then I'm gonna say blah 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 blah, and then he's like prepared a remark.
Nothing. It's like you start off with the tiny little snowball, right?
Yeah.
And you just drop it and you say, oh, where's that going to go?
And he takes it to great lengths.
And it just, by the end of it, it is a massive snowball. Sometimes it's an avalanche.
Yeah.
It just, everything, all the snow just completely falls down the hill.
And I live for the times where I do that and I ask him a question and he starts to go in his weirdo answer to a question he had no idea was coming, and then he just cracks himself up like he can't commit to it. Doesn't happen very often, but it's always my goal. Speaking of goals,
nice.
You see what I did there?
I did.
And if you were Ryan, you'd explain what I just did there to the people out there. You'd explain the radio thing. Segue.
Yeah, this is where we talk about the St. Louis Blues because they're in the playoffs, right? Is that what we're going for? Is that the segue we're talking about?
I went to the Cardinals game on Tuesday. We lost 2-0, but it was a good baseball game. Of course, they won the other games in the Houston Astros series, just not the one I went to.
Hate to see it.
Whoops. But while we were at the Cardinals game, I think we scored at least 4 goals while we were in the stadium. What was it? The score ended up being 4-1 or 5-1 or something.
On Tuesday?
Yeah.
6-1.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, up until about 9:00 when the game got over, every time the Blues would score a goal, they showed it in the stadium. The stadium went crazy. And that was all we cheered for because we didn't score any runs that night. But people are pumped for the Blues. The Blues are doing kind of a Stanley Cup run thing from the last time we went through this. And I don't know what your thoughts are on if this team can take it all the way, but we got playoffs now.
The Blues are doing something that a team in St. Louis hasn't done for at least a couple years now, and that's giving serious hope, right? Like, I mean, like you think of St. Louis sports, and traditionally, this town takes great pride in the quality of sports that goes on here. And the Cardinals haven't been what they've traditionally been here the last couple of years. The Blues have struggled here the last couple of years. So for St. Louis, for the Blues to get back into the playoffs is super encouraging. Here's something crazy I saw the other day. I think it's 58 seasons now that they've been in the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 46 or 47 of them. They have made the playoffs.
Now,
is that crazy?
I'm going to ask you some questions that are going to explain that I am a go home team Blues fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand hockey.
Sure.
I can't make time in my life for it. But I do love the Blues and I hope that they do well. It feels like all but 2 teams make the playoffs. What percentage of the teams in the league make the playoffs?
50%.
Half.
So there's 32 teams in the NHL and 16 of them make it.
16 make it. It's a lot. What is it in baseball now? 30 teams and you've got 6 conference.
12 make it.
6 division, I should say.
No.
And 2 wild cards.
10 make it. Yes. So there's 6
in 2 and 2.
There is 6 divisions in total. Wait, no, that is 12. I was right, 12. 3 divisions in each. No, I'm tripping now.
Don't look at me. I'm not good at math.
There's 6 division champions
There's
and then
6
2
division
wild
champions.
cards in each league.
Yes.
So that's 10.
Yeah, that's 10. I tripped out for a second.
Is that right? Is that what it is?
I
mean, that's a third versus a half in hockey. So then and then in baseball now we have like the wild card series and then you have the division series and then the league series and then World Series.
Mm-hmm.
The wild card is a 3-game series. The division series is a 5-game series.
Mm-hmm.
And then the league and the world are 7-game series. What is it for hockey?
Everything is 7 games for hockey.
And how many series are there?
There's 4. So you have to, the Stanley Cup championship, the Stanley Cup final is the final of the 4 series.
Right.
So in order to win the Stanley Cup championship, you have to win 16 playoff games. They call it the hardest trophy to win in all of sports.
How did the Blues fare are they healthy right now?
They are mostly healthy. There's been a couple of pieces that they had been missing here down the stretch when they got really hot. One of them was Colton Parayko, who is their best defenseman by far. And fortunately for Blues fans, he had been also playing his best hockey of his career up until the point that he got injured several weeks ago. He just came back last week. So he is back. He is healthy. He is good to go. They just sent out the practice lines that they had today. He is in the lineup still. The other guy that they're missing, though, that will not be at least good to go for the start of this playoff series is Dylan Holloway. Dylan Holloway we got last offseason from Edmonton and ended up being a huge surprise for St. Louis this year. Not that he wasn't expected to be good, just he exceeded expectations. He ended up being second on the team in goals this year and in points. So he was a huge addition. He got injured the game that they tied the franchise record, that they won their 11th game. He got hurt early in that one, and you could tell the quality of play has kind of dipped since then. And because he was playing on a line with Jordan Kyrou, and those two had really good chemistry together.
Did you say you just recorded a podcast episode on this on your?
Yeah, actually, just this morning, me and my buddy Brandon recorded our episode 58 of the Loose Sports Talk podcast, and we had Jamal Mayers on, analyst for Sportsnet up in Canada, and played for the Blues for 10 seasons. So that will premiere tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on our Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
The Lou Sportcast.
The Lou Sports Talk.
Sports Talk.
Yes.
Podcast. So, and you can check that out. That's Ethan's along with his buddy Brandon. When do they start? When's the first game?
First game is on Saturday at 5:00 in Winnipeg. And then the first home game will be next week. That'll be game 3. That'll be next Thursday at 8:30.
You just looked up tickets for that?
I did look up tickets for that.
Some are available?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's still plenty available. And actually, they're not bad at all. I expected them to be way more expensive than this. The cheapest tickets I'm seeing are mid 60s, high 60s, which for a playoff game.
Also,
pretty
my
good
experience,
bang for your buck.
I haven't been to a lot of hockey games, but my experience of going to hockey games is that if you're in the arena, you're in it. Like it's not.
Yes.
I mean, when the Rams were here, my dad had season tickets. We had seats in the end zone, but like up top, and it was fun to watch it because you could really see the plays unfold. I have a hard time watching a football game from like the 50-yard line if you're low. Great seats to be a part of the action, but I need to see more of the unfolding because I don't understand it as much if I can't look at it like it's a PlayStation game or something.
I've sat pretty much anywhere that you can sit within Enterprise, from the broadcast booth to the ringside booth to right up on the glass to far back row for a Stanley Cup final game.
Just to be there. And you felt like you're in it.
Yes.
Party atmosphere.
Yeah. I would actually say that, I would say the best spot to sit in Enterprise Center is upper level, but as close to the front row as you can be.
That's pretty
because
good.
you have an over the top view, but you don't have people obstructing your view either.
Did you know that I think it was 2010 that I recorded the voice work for the Blues home opener?
No kidding. What year was it? What's year?
I think it was 2010. It's on YouTube somewhere.
How did you get that opportunity?
Tom Calhoun.
Uh-huh.
I know Tom Calhoun. He's the PA guy who's like been at every game since 1850 or something like that. He's never missed a game. But they needed a female voice, and I was supposed to sound like a computer. It was like I'd have to like tell the crowd. I was giving the crowd instructions of what to do as part of it. Enter Sandman played at the beginning, and then they got all the projections. I was
That still plays, by the way, when they come out on the ice.
every time, every game.
Yep.
Are we going to 5750?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, and that's, in true Ryan fashion, that's the end of my story. They needed a female voice, and he knew that I had done some voice work. And at that point, I had voiced a few commercials. And he thought of me, and so I went there, and they gave me 2 tickets to go to the game. That was my payment. I was fine. So I got to go to opening night.
It's very cool.
And it was wild. You Blues fans are crazy people.
Opening night's cool. There's something about it. Kind of similar to opening day. It's a new start. Fans are ready to go. They're energized.
I didn't realize it, but it is equal to opening day for baseball for Blues fans.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you're in that group,
yeah,
it's as big of a deal as opening day for baseball is for baseball.
Those
fans.
players all get introduced for the first time.
Yeah.
It's a cool experience.
I had not experienced it before, and I got to be a part of it, and it was pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'll find the YouTube video somewhere. You found it? Oh, he has it
Yeah, I
ready
put
to
it
go.
in the
That
chat.
was quick.
All right. Well, I'll share it on my X profile at Annie Fry Show. We'll be back in the 2 o'clock hour with a little Annie, Are You Okay? with Trisha, 225. Don't go away.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-222-9599. 800-222-9599. Again, that's 800-222-9599.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
This is the Fox News alert. Shooting on a college campus. I'm John Saucier. Police and FBI are responding to a shooting on the campus of Florida State University in Tallahassee. We've heard a suspect has been taken into police custody. At least 6 people are injured. We don't know the extent of those injuries, but students and staff were told to seek shelter and then wait for further instructions. Now, we did speak with one student in Tallahassee who was reacting to this news.
Honestly, I just hope everyone's okay, and I hope that we can just do better precautions so this doesn't happen again. And I just feel awful for the students on there having to go through these emotions right now.
The schools canceled all remaining classes and activities, no athletic events for the remainder of today. A spokesperson says that Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare was receiving and treating people affected by the shooting, and police were seen responding near the student union. Governor Ron DeSantis is reacting on X. He writes, our prayers are with our FSU family and state law enforcement is actively responding. We do have word that President Trump has also been briefed on the situation. Speaking of the president, he got together with the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni at the White House this afternoon. President Trump says both countries share a strong relationship, and he's fully confident the U.S. will reach a new trade deal with Europe.
We're going to have very little problem making a deal with Europe or anybody else, because we have something that everybody wants. You know what that means, right? We have something that everybody wants.
The Prime Minister says she's confident they can work out a new trade deal and adds that she hopes this could lead to further discussions with other European countries.
My goal would be invite President Trump to pay an official visit to Italy and understand if there's a possibility when he comes to organize also such a meeting with Europe.
The president has recently temporarily suspended his plan for higher tariffs on European goods. He argues these tariffs will give the U.S. fair economic trade. Many economists believe this will slow economic growth and drive up costs. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Windy and 75 for the high this afternoon. Couple of thunderstorms here and there. Tonight it's dry, partly cloudy, but very mild. 66. Friday, partly sunny, windy with some showers around. 83. Pretty good shot of strong to severe thunderstorms. Scattered variety, but around on Friday night. And then a touch cooler, but unsettled over the Easter weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
PointPestControl.com. Remember to put that E on the end of Point Pest Control. Of point. You don't have to put it on the end of control. That sounds British. Point with an E, pestcontrol.com. When you call 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, you're going to get a hold in Missouri and Illinois of the folks that I use for pest control at my house. We do not have bugs in our house. We do not have spiders in our house. Thank God. That's what I initially needed help with when I called Point Pest Control a few Novembers ago. And I'm not exaggerating at all. We have no bugs. I have not had to call Point Pest Control to come back into my house to take care of issues. They do it for me. I subscribe quarterly to their plan, their service. So they come out to my house and spray every quarter. And they also are there to help in the event that you maybe start with an ant problem. Maybe you've got a little termite damage that you've just noticed. You don't know if it's active or if it's old. Point Pest Control can guide you through all of these concerns and make sure that you are like the Fry House, pest free. 636-798-0023 is the number to call. Doesn't matter if you're in Illinois or Missouri. Point Pest Control is there to take care of your pest problem for you. It's Point with an E. Find them online right now and make sure you mention the Annie Fry Show when you go to book with them, because you're going to save an extra 10% on top of any other deal that you might have when you mention my name. PointPestControl.com is Point with an E, PointPestControl.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rip my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not a married sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not a married sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're grateful that you're here with us right now. It looks like it's a beautiful day outside at this point in time. It's 74 and sunny, according to my computer right in front of me. Isn't it weird to sit at a computer and know that it's 74 and sunny outside?
Yeah, it's a little bit depressing when I get here in the morning because I get here usually around 10:30, and it's especially this time of year, it's so nice out, and then there's just that understanding. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go 8 hours without feeling any of this.
Do you feel vitamin D and being in the sun is something that I realize I do not do enough of. If I exercise, it's usually inside. It's going to the YMCA or inside my home. And I really should just go outside and walk and be in the sun. I realized that during COVID a lot. That was something that I've always said, if I could change two things about myself, I would change the fact that I am not a morning person, and I would make myself love running. How do you feel about running, Ethan?
I have a love-hate relationship with running.
And explain that.
I hate it during, but I love it after, because I'm like, good for me for doing that. But how
frequently do you run?
In the last 6 to 8 months, I have not ran really at all. But prior to that, the past several years, I've consistently gone and been a runner, and nothing crazy, 2 to 3 miles.
That's good.
Yeah, well, some
are you good at it?
I'm not like I would have been good in high school or anything like that. I would probably for a 2-mile run, 10 minutes per mile. I don't know, nothing crazy. So not really.
A 10-minute mile is good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Isn't that a 6? That'd be a 6 miles per hour.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Well,
I never understand. I hate running on treadmills.
Well,
I can't do
math
it.
suggests that 6 miles per hour, if you ran for an hour, would be 60 minutes. And if you're doing 6, then that's a 10-minute
See, I'm just not smart enough to do that math. But I can tell you that I can't run on treadmills because I have to be going somewhere.
Are you bored?
Yes, but I also have to be forced to get to a point to where I can be done. If I'm a mile from my house, then I have to get back there some way. But I can stop at any point on a treadmill. I just can't do it.
Yeah. I just look at the numbers and I'm like, why aren't you moving faster?
Yeah.
Why is this sucks? I don't want the vitals of everything all the time. But if you're outside, you're just, there's a tree and I'm running to the tree. Okay, I'll run to the stop sign or, whatever it might be. And then what about you, Brad? Are you a runner?
I used to run a lot. I would run, I think it would be about 3 5Ks a week.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I injured my hip and I got out of it. And now I don't run much anymore because it, still have the hip issue every now and then. It just, I don't know how to describe it other than it gets really numb. And I asked my doctor about it and he's like, yeah, getting old stinks. I'm like, no, that doesn't help.
Nice.
So during COVID, I went crazy on it and I was running between 10 and 12 miles a week, which I was pretty proud of.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
It's good.
I was nocturnal. I would start my runs at midnight and then I would go home and I would, get cleaned up.
That is really nocturnal.
Then I'd watch a movie or something and I'd go to bed at 4 a.m.
I thought you were going to say you'd run. COVID started in March, so it was probably getting dark around 7:30, but completely dark by 8. I thought you were saying I'd start my run at 9 and then you'd stay up afterwards.
My days would start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Holy cow.
My schedule was totally flipped during COVID.
What were you doing in 2020?
I was a college student.
Did you live on campus?
No, I was a junior college student, so I lived at home.
So you were on your own time, and were you doing online?
I was doing online. And I would I'm trying to recall what exactly I would do because we would have some classes in the morning, but most of my classes weren't in the morning. So I was able to kind of set up the schedule
Yeah.
to where I didn't have to be up in the morning. I
Brilliant.
just sleep for the first half of the
Did
day.
you when COVID happened and you were all online?
Mhm.
How often was class slated you had to be at a specific place at a specific time? Like even if it was in front of a computer at home.
Was
that the majority of the time?
I would say that it was probably the majority.
So you still had to proverbially show up.
Yes, it was a lot of Zoom classes because those were still those were probably, I would assume, considered at that point still in-person classes, as far as like you're going to have a meetup,
Yeah.
you signed up for an in-person class.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, I guess, keep that as close to that as possible. It wasn't like these were remote classes at the time where
Because the remote class, a lot of times they'll
on your own schedule.
They'll upload
Yeah.
information.
Mhm.
You've got to meet a deadline and you've got to consume things in a specific
Yeah.
time and return.
These were not like that.
This was just like a Zoom meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. Would
you have preferred it?
Probably not. Probably not. I understand the detriment that it caused for a lot of, I would say I think it had more effect on kids that were younger than me than it did for college students. The stuff that mattered to me at that time, the growing in my broadcasting skills and doing a lot of those things, we could still do from home. We could still go on air. We still got reviewed on our air checks and things like that. We still did our Saturday morning sports shows. So
What did you talk about? There were no sports.
that was quite the challenge. Yeah. So we had to get pretty creative with some of the things that we would discuss. But we would go back and we had to get really creative. At one point, we actually did a simulation of every single world championship St. Louis Cardinals team against one another. And we talked through each matchup every week. And we would do a lot of like, who's the GOAT kind of conversations and things like that. But it was challenging there for a little while. Trying to be a sports director of a station when no sports were allowed to be going on had its difficulties. But I would say like those kinds of things I was still able to do. But, some of the gen ed classes that I was still taking, I mean, you kind of slithered your way through those. They were easier to, avoid having to work hard in those classes. Did it affect me? No, but I mean, those things affected the kids in lower grades because, they're learning still those aspects of how to work and how to study and things like that.
It's really important for us to reflect on COVID and how it affected different people and age groups. Certainly, my children were kind of forged in it. So COVID, they don't understand a childhood that doesn't have a COVID time. And that sticks out to them more than, what life would be like if they never knew mask wearing. My now third grader remembers more school wearing a mask than not wearing a mask.
That's crazy. That is so crazy.
And they went to a Lutheran school that was in session. Like the only time they were off was the March through the end of May. And then the rest of the time they were in school. And the school thank you, Lutheran schools. The Lutheran schools that they attended did everything they could, to make sure you had kids in school. And at the time I was very much like, if you want them to wear masks and distance and stuff like that, but they're in school, I'll take it. Because that was as good as you could get in Illinois. In Missouri, there were people who were doing regular school a lot sooner. In Illinois, it went on forever. We had a rally. We had a Show Me Your Smile rally. And I feel like that was in March of 22.
Yeah, it would have been at least March 22 because I started here in 21 of
That's
September
so
of 21.
Crazy. In March of 22, it's weird to think about that. We on the show led a rally in Edwardsville to say, let us choose if our child wears masks in March of 22.
When sports did resume, this would have been fall of 2020 and spring of 2021. The school that I was attending at the time tried to force the broadcasters to wear masks outdoors while we were broadcasting, had a microphone in our face with a headset. And it doesn't work. It literally doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then when I transferred to my university, they were still wearing masks. That would have been fall of 2021. And I think that they finally let up in the spring of 2022 at some point. But they were pretty hardcore on us. I was an RA, so they really hounded on us. If you weren't wearing them, you'd get in trouble. And I pushed back pretty hard on those.
The thing that frustrates me about it so much is that it was the blind leading the blind on the issue. There were people, like a lot of the policies were implemented just because they were worried about lawsuits. And so you just had to pass the buck. So what did the CDC say today? We're just going to go with that. Now, the CDC had a lot of power over a lot of people's lives at that time by being able to make those policies. And then a lot of other people just Pontius Pilate wash their hands of it and say, well, this is the guidance, because they didn't want to get in trouble for doing the wrong thing, which frustrates me. And I have these realizations every once in a while, and it happened Tuesday at the game. Some kids wanted some nachos, and I was going to share some with my daughter and my husband. And so we went to get the Alberto's nachos or whatever. They give you a huge box of nachos, and then you can put toppings on it. And there's a little bar of toppings, and it's just this big vat of sour cream and hot peppers and I think olives and onions, and I don't know what else was out there. And people are just one at a time doing up their nachos. Everybody's touching the same ladle. And I said out loud to the people I was with, I'm like, COVID's over. I just think of these situations that we were in, and it would have been unimaginable in the midst of that to have this scenario, like buffets. No, we are not.
Yeah, how long were we without a lot of that kind of stuff?
I don't know.
Just in the world.
I don't love buffets.
Sure.
In general, not my fave.
If I was Ryan Wiggins, I'd say, oh, I love buffets.
Yes, he loves a good buffet. But I see that type of stuff, and I'm like, I'm kind of glad this stuff is back, because it means that we've completely kicked down the door and we've sprinted in the other direction. It doesn't feel like we're looking back. Do you feel like there's anything still lingering out there?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
That COVID has, I think the things that have not returned are truly just business decisions that companies have made because of business. That they
like remote work, is that what you're referring to?
No, well, yes, but also just things that really affect the bottom line that businesses get to blame COVID for, but maybe would have loved to have done before COVID, but now they can get away with it because COVID pushed us in a direction to not do said thing anymore. I always say McDonald's breakfast. Why did that have to go away? 24-hour breakfast? That's never come back. Remember drive-thrus?
Was that a COVID? Was that?
I think it's connected to
That's
it.
when it went away. Yeah.
I mean,
evil.
Because they didn't want to have as many people working in the same spaces. Or I mean, fast food restaurants weren't open for a while, right? Everything shut down.
Almost everything closed. At least for 2 weeks.
Yeah, at least at the very beginning.
You find out who the government thinks is an essential worker. My work is essential because it's how I feed my family.
Yeah.
And if the government deems it non-essential, screw you. I mean, like, you can't take away people's livelihoods. They took away people's livelihoods, and then they handed out money from people who were not making money, taking money from people who weren't making money. Like, boy, and here we are in this situation with inflation out of control.
I was a server at a restaurant, and we were closed down for, at least several months. And that was, even as I was living under my parents' roof, but it was no even income. my own personal bank account. It was slim, because I didn't have a job, and I know
it's not your fault,
right? Yeah, so that was a tough situation when we came back. It was masks everywhere, and you're back in a hot, steaming kitchen, and right in the middle of the summer. It was and then it was outdoor seating only for a little while at first. It was. And you could take your
mask off when you sat down at the table because COVID couldn't get you. What the heck is that?
If you sit down.
WT on YouTube says Walmart still hasn't opened 24 hours a day. Yeah, what is that? If you need something at 12:30 at night, and a lot of you are saying, like, who needs some? I need things.
You'd be amazed.
I need things at 12:30 at night, especially when you're raising babies. I need things at 12:30 at night. Why is Walmart not 24 hours? And I think the only reason it's not 24 hours is because from a business standpoint, they don't think it's worth it, which that's capitalism. I understand that, but they never would. That wasn't the case before COVID. It was worth it then. It's just not worth bringing it back now.
I think there was probably a lot of I think universities didn't do remote learning and remote classes to the extent that they do now. I think that COVID really opened something up there with using Zooms and being able to make the most of those kinds of things. I think that's definitely stuck around since COVID as well.
When COVID hit for me, I was mowing grass. And it was in March when they shut everything down, and then end of March, beginning of April is whenever mowing season started. And my customers started reaching out. I was like, "Hey, are you going to mow grass this year?" And so there was a lot of investigation of like, would I be hauled off from their house in handcuffs for being outside when I wasn't supposed to be, and all that other stuff. And then like the other side of it was, okay, and you got to wear a mask. And so you go outside. That lasted about a half an hour. I had a mask on, trying to mow. It was dumb. And like my safety glasses are fogging up and all that other stuff.
Who told you had to wear a mask?
Nobody. I just assumed that I needed to. And then as it went on, I was like, no, there's nobody here. I'll be fine. It's just one of those things that I had to figure out on my own. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff. Yeah. 24-hour Walmarts, breakfasts, all day breakfast. That wasn't that long. That didn't start that much longer before. I mean, maybe a year or two before everything shut down in COVID, right?
I don't know. I think that the way that we connect with one another through electronics, and really, I'm just going to say it, forcing a specific generation of older people, probably Gen X and older, to say, no, you have to learn how to do this. I believe that a large majority of those individuals are glad that they now can conduct business that way. But there are some people who are like, oh, I just don't know how to do that. Not everybody knows how to do it. You have to know how to do it to be able to communicate via Zoom and all that type of stuff. Let's take a quick break. We're going to have Trisha come in next. A little Annie, are you okay? And we'll see what Trisha has for us in just a minute. Join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Come say hi. We'd love to chat with you. You can vote in the YouTube live chat poll, which is located while the video is live, while we're live on the radio. We're also live on YouTube. And in the live chat version of that broadcast, you can vote in this poll. Do you celebrate Easter? Yes as a religious holiday. Yes as a secular holiday. Or no, you don't celebrate it. On the Annie Fry YouTube channel, in studio here on 97.1 Next, Trisha with Annie, are you okay?
Well, pass it to me, baby. Well, pass it to me
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
And put a good buzz on.
aircomfortservice.com. If you want to check them out on the website right now, you certainly can do that. Air Comfort Service is there to guide you into the summer months, the warm months where you're going to need to crank up that air conditioner. How's it working for you? How did it work for you last season? Do you think it's time to have some maintenance done on it? You want to make sure that you reach out to the best. Air Comfort Service is the best, and they want to guide you through making sure that everything is in good working order. This can often help you avoid costly repairs, of course. Now is the time to get a free estimate and talk about upgrading your system at 2024 prices. This is very important to understand that the government has added regulations, of course, to the type of refrigerant used in HVAC equipment, which is going to make prices rise by 20%. Air Comfort Service anticipated this, stocked up on 2024 equipment so that they could pass those savings along to you. In addition to being able to work with 2024 pricing at Air Comfort Service, you might be eligible for carrier cool cash rebates up to the tune of $1,700. Call them at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091 and tell them Annie sent you. Find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
Do you know what went down at the Viper Room the night River Phoenix died? Are you aware of how Steve McQueen escaped death at the hands of the Manson family? But what about the real-life brutal murder that inspired David Lynch's Twin Peaks? These stories and more are told in the Hollywoodland podcast, where true crime and Tinseltown collide. Follow and listen to Hollywoodland wherever you get your podcasts.
This could be the number 1 tax saving strategy for your retirement savings, and it's hidden inside IRS tax code section 1.408A-4. Discover what it is and how you can make your money go further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by advisors from financial and tax architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis, and you'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing Social Security, paying for health care, and more. And they do it for free, but bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are a few openings left for classes this month, so register now by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: do you celebrate Easter? Yes, it's a religious holiday. Yes, as a secular holiday. Or no, I don't celebrate Easter. I'm a humbug. We want to know what you think on this poll. We want you to go vote. And Annie also put out a challenge last hour to go in the poll and vote and say, hey, give Brad a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat. Nobody's doing it. So come back, vote. Vote in the poll. The time right now is 2:28. This time check is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Caught my heart about 1-2 times. Don't need to question the reason I'm yours.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Just to say a smile, 'cause you got no flaws. No flaws. I'm not trying to be your part-time lover. Sign me up for them full-time. I'm yours. All yours. So what a man gotta do? What a man gotta do to be totally locked up by you? What a man gotta say?
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
Well, it's time for Annie, are you okay? And we've got Trisha in here. Hi, Trisha. How are you?
Hi, Annie. Hi, Brad. I'm good. How are you?
Hello.
How's your chair?
It is lower than it was when I started sitting in it a second ago.
That's, we talk about our chairs every once in a while. We want new chairs in the studio. We're working on it. But the funny thing is, it's not that my chair's pretty comfortable, but some of these chairs just slowly move throughout the course of the show. So you could just be in a very slow, quiet descent.
This was a pretty quick ride. I hopped in. I'm like, oh, this feels good. Whoop.
Down she goes.
Yeah, here I am.
All right, what do you got for us today?
Vegas Wedding Chapel offering Star Wars themed weddings for May 4th. It's that time of year again. The Little Vegas Chapel is once again offering Star Wars themed weddings for May 4th. Couples who want to tie the knot in a galaxy far, far away can choose from 2 packages titled
talk to Katy Perry,
Yoda One for Me, and Love Star. The chapel promoted the packages with photos of staff members wearing t-shirts saying, "Till Death Star do us part."
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Annie, are you okay with Star Wars?
Yeah. I am a blanket okay with Star Wars. Star Wars people, on the other hand.
What's wrong with Star Wars people?
Here we go. Brad?
I'm a Star Wars person, but I'm also not.
Sounds so whiny.
I'm not one. I'm not one of those Star Wars.
I'm not one of those Star.
No, nobody ever is.
Yes. Wait, so
listen, I'm a Disney person. I understand this.
It's like Carl Middleman is a Star Wars person.
He's got some really cool merch.
Yes, I called him a kid. He wears Star Wars gear all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you love him for it?
Not for that, but for other reasons.
Yeah, he's great.
Are you okay with Star Wars, Ethan?
Yeah, I'm okay with Star Wars. I think it's a pretty good series, and the new stuff is terrible. Awful.
Is there anything new that's good?
Define since like the new.
I don't know. Don't ask me to define it.
Yes, I would say that I would define new as the newest trilogy and everything since then.
Post Disney.
Rogue One is is, I guess, how would you describe Rogue One? It's like
Is that a movie?
Yes, it's not a part of the.
It tells the story about how they got the deaths. So it takes place in between the
yeah. But like, it's not one of the episodes.
It's not one of the main stories, but it tells a part of the story that plays a vital role in the main story.
Rogue One is a phenomenal movie.
Okay.
And The Mandalorian is very good.
I really liked The Mandalorian. Yeah, that was good.
Your question was, do I like Star Wars?
Yeah,
I
you're okay
do.
with it.
And I want Star Wars to come back. I want them to develop something that is absolutely amazing. That the Star Wars people, the nerds like Brad and Carl.
Brad's not like
Brad and Carl are the same.
This is where you say, no, we're not.
No, not.
Stop it.
fighting about
Listen.
Nothing like that.
There's a line, and you guys are on one side of the line, maybe in different places, but there's a line.
Farther across the line than others.
And
But
I would venture to say that a large percentage of our audience are Star Wars people. And it would make me so happy to see new, fresh people, and maybe some, I don't know, old Star Wars people who were part of the, I don't know who the players are. I don't know who the players need to be, but if somehow or another they were able to come back, and I don't care, I've heard of people suggest this before, just pretend that a lot of the bad stuff didn't happen and pick it up from and do it right the way you should have the first time. If they were to come back and do that in a way that honored the Star Wars people, of which I am not one, but I love a lot of people who are Star Wars people, that would be the best. Bless your heart. to the dummies that have ruined so much of what Disney has purchased and owned and messed up. So the resurgence of good, true, honest Star Wars would make me so happy from a cultural standpoint for the world, but also for the Star Wars people like Brad and Carl.
Brad, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that they've announced that they're going to do a new trilogy, and that is going to have nothing to do with the last three.
It's not going to have anything to do
it's going to
with
be
Rey.
it's a little down the road, but
Brad's
it's going
like,
to be completely but it's going to be a completely different storyline. So it sounds like we may be getting something similar to what you just said.
Maybe.
Brad's done.
The hottest new reality TV drama is a live stream of migrating Arctic moose. A majestic herd of moose is captivating millions across the globe thanks to Sweden's now iconic live stream, The Great Moose Migration. Dubbed reality TV at its finest, the broadcast returned April 15th, a full week earlier than anticipated, after an unusually warm spring jump-started the annual inland trek of the country's largest land mammals. You can stream The Great Moose Migration for free at svtvplay.se, or you can just Google Migrating Moose TV. Annie, are you okay with reality TV?
Oh, man. More than I'd like to admit. Well, first of all, when we define reality TV, we're basically saying not scripted TV, right? Because reality TV has little reality in it.
Yeah, is there any real other than this moose thing? There was a fish thing not too long ago too. Where you could watch the fish.
That's weird. I would say that reality TV is probably best represented on YouTube because you can watch. I mean, we're live streaming right now. Is this reality TV? I mean, it's real, and you can put it on your smart TV,
and it's not scripted.
Well,
I wish
this
part is.
It would be easier if it were scripted. Probably wouldn't be as fun. Mm-hmm. I think that reality TV exists more in platforms like YouTube than it does in production that you see on your television that's on like what we would refer to as TV channels.
Is there any of that guilty pleasure reality in air quotes TV that you can get into?
Not the super trashy stuff like Real Housewives and stuff like that. They do not need me to be interested in it to be successful. They've proven that there is a market for that. So, whatever people are into. I used to, like, before when I had younger kids and didn't have so many schedules to coordinate and places to be, I would watch. I watched a lot of what was the show with Jazz Jennings? I Am Jazz, I think, but
I don't know that one.
Jazz, it was a transgender male to female, and this family transitioned him when he was 2.
Whoa.
And then they showed the different types of surgeries that eventually happened in her teens and his.
What was the justification for that?
It's unbelievable. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I could, and like the access that you were given through the lens of a produced reality show, so that might be conflicting. I just hadn't experienced anything like that before. So I watched that, and people would be like, oh, don't give them ratings. I was curious and I wanted to know about it because it was just foreign to what I understood. I used to watch The Biggest Loser a lot. I loved watching that. And, it was The Biggest Loser trashy TV. To me, it was kind of inspiring to watch these people improve their lives. Now, there are a lot of questions about methods that were used during The Biggest Loser.
But it was exciting. You'd see progress that seemed like good progress.
Yeah, and I liked Jillian Michaels. I liked seeing that. So
great.
So I would certainly say that I have watched what would be classified as reality TV, and everybody kind of has their own avenue of like the idea of Dr. Pimple Popper existing as successfully as it does. Do any of you watch it? Have you?
I've seen it.
I see the clips on like Instagram Reels.
Do you watch them?
I'm a sucker for them.
You love them?
Oh, I love them.
Oh, Ethan. Come on.
Look at
These
this
are
face.
awesome.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah. So satisfying watching it.
Can you tell at the start of the video whether or not this is going to be a good one or a bad one?
Yeah, usually the thumbnail is like, oh, it's like, how gross is that one? If it's pretty gross, then I'm probably gonna
The
watch
grosser the better.
The grosser the better.
Especially if the person gags on the video. They're like, oh
Yeah, that helps. That also helps. Because they always play like the most disgusting part, like probably like a 5-second clip of it at the beginning. You're like, oh, that was nasty. And then they hook you up for like a 5-minute video
To
of it.
see
like,
how you got to
the
there.
exact same thing that I just watched.
Are you watching Dr. Pimple Popper, Trisha?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Would you, if someone was like, you've got to see this, and they started showing it to you, would you have to see it? Would you be able to turn away?
I would be able to turn away from Dr. Pimple Popper. I can't even say it.
Brad?
No, I couldn't turn away. I'd
Listen,
have to see it.
I can't.
What's it gonna do?
Whoa! What do you think it's gonna do? Dance?
Well, there's all
hello,
different...
my baby. Hello, my honey.
No, I no, that could get grosser.
You obviously have never seen Spaceballs.
Okay, but for real, what is I'm trying to find this moose stream. What is it called again?
The moose stream.
Just Google the Great Moose Migration.
I know, and I'm just seeing a bunch of people talking about it, but I can't find the actual link. I'm
I'll
getting
send it to you
upset.
after
Thank
this.
you.
Brad, do you watch reality TV?
Not a lot of it. I'm trying to think of which ones maybe I watch. My wife will watch it, and I'll sit down and watch with her. But
In college, I remember the group of people I hung out with, Jared's cousin and this group of people would watch the choppers, like the Orange County choppers or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people who would get custom chopper motors. Like, I don't care about any of that, but I'm always like, I have to see how this ends.
how's the drama?
I like some of those food. I used to watch Food Network Star, Design Star, some of those reality competition
along the
shows.
lines of the Orange County choppers. Like what was the one? Chip Foose was the car designer, and they would steal somebody's car and then like restore it and then give it back to them. I really liked that show.
Bobo Farms on YouTube says Duck Dynasty. I loved Duck Dynasty.
Good point.
And that's reality TV that I like. I think that and I've actually hosted an event with Alan Robertson, who's the oldest beardless bro, and he's been on the show a few times. He would explain it like they would start with the premise and then they'd go and make the show. So I don't think there were real things about it. They're real people, but he even said that the personalities were kind of switched up. Like Jace is actually much more like Willie, and Willie was actually much more like Jace, and that they were actually kind of like parodying each other in the show, which I found interesting and actually could see how that would make the show more entertaining. If you were playing a character of your brother, you could have fun with that.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah.
So I would say yes. On the whole, reality TV gets a thumbs up as much as anything else does.
Woman dyes Easter eggs in her toilet. A video of a content creator dying Easter
Ethan, you into this too?
You know he is. A video of a content creator dyeing Easter eggs in her toilet bowl went viral this week.
Oh my gosh.
The woman's from Minnesota. She fills her toilet bowl with 24 eggs and then proceeds to dump food coloring in the colored liquid into the bowl. She then sprinkles in baking soda and pours in a gallon of vinegar. The eggs magically turn into tie-dye looking creations ready for Easter. Annie, are you okay with preparing food items in the bathroom?
I'm trying to think of how someone could say yes to this, and I'm coming up with nothing. Ethan?
Do we have a location on where in Minnesota? I'm a little bit concerned at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like Trisha's got something out in Minnesota.
Ethan's like, my wife has like these great tie-dyed eggs.
Does she have a viral video this week?
No, not that I know of. No, I can't say that I am okay with food being prepared in the bathroom. I just think of just how many germs are in the air. And the thought of that makes me sick.
All right, Brad, you don't drink alcohol. Ethan, you enjoy a beer every once in a while? Or
Sure
not?
do.
Amen.
Yeah, they're watching Pimple
American
Popper.
male.
Nothing like sitting down on a Friday night, popping all the cold one and watching her pop those.
Shower beers. Yay or nay? In your time.
Never tried it.
Yes, the best.
A shower beer?
Yeah.
I'll get back to you this weekend.
You can actually buy a cup holder that goes on in your shower to set your beer in there.
Really?
I said we have had this conversation on the show before. I don't really remember. I don't drink beer, but like a nice cold drink in the shower. Have you ever had a drink in the shower?
Yeah, I did a shower root beer after you guys talked about it.
That is so wholesome.
That's the proudest thing that's ever been
Like, what's this
Braded.
like? Let's make it as cold as I put it in ice and got it real cold.
He's got
and
his
like,
cooler in
went
there.
and mowed the grass and then came back in. I was like, all right, let's see what this is all about.
How was the shower root beer?
It was great.
Delightful.
Did it relax you afterwards?
Yes. Yeah, it was
Go
great.
out for a fun night of town. Yeah, I think a cold drink in the shower, if you're, when you're cutting the grass, it's such a filthy thing, especially in the middle of the summer when everything is dusty and everything. You get a refreshing drink in the shower. I had said something to my husband about that. This is years ago when we talked about it. And he's like, no, I've never done that. I'm like, I don't know. Everybody says so. So he did it. He's like, I'm going to do that again. It's like, okay. I don't need to know about it. What's the question? Yes.
Food in the bathroom.
No.
KFC introduces fried chicken flavored toothpaste and it's selling out.
No.
That's right. KFC recently reintroduced a fried chicken flavored toothpaste. It's a limited edition and you can buy it on highsmileteeth.com for $13.
You're going to charge you for it?
It's inspired by the company's famous 11 herbs and spices.
Can we expense a tube of this and give it to Ryan and have him taste it?
It's sold out almost instantly.
That's because they didn't
right
actually. They had like one tube.
Nobody's gonna buy this.
One dork bought this fried chicken toothpaste.
Just saying, looks like a hot ticket item to me. Annie, are you okay with fried chicken
without the bones? Which like a chicken tendy?
Just like a chicken
Yeah, I was gonna say,
nugget or
how
tender?
do you do that? I guess you mean like chicken nuggets?
But it has to be real chicken. It can't be like processed and mushed together. So
You have to be able to peel it apart, and it peels apart like chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's delicious. I'm not eating it off the bone ever.
Chicken wings?
You're not like
Would you eat a chicken wing?
wings or drumsticks? No.
Is there a bone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the answer is no.
Wow.
No.
That's crazy.
I specifically remember my grandma frying chicken and putting it on my plate, and it tastes good. I don't like the bone. The gristle is the worst. I'm more repulsed by a bite full of gristle, like when you bite into it and it's like, no. And it bounces back. I'm like, what's going on? You're not supposed to do that. So I would eat it because she'd be mad if I didn't, like maybe offended. It was delicious chicken, but I would only eat like, just right. If you're eating a wing or whatever, just eat right around central where the meat was. And she's like, there's so much more meat on that bone. People, you probably are these people where it's like, and you just take the bone out of your mouth and it's gone.
You're like, where'd the rest of it go? Like, I know all of that was not good.
Do you chew? Do you just swallow so you don't have that negative experience and discussion with the chicken who's like, I don't want to be chewed. I want to stay the way I am. And I'm like, well, I get it. I don't want to eat you either. So a chicken nugget is what we call them in the house.
That's adorable.
Isn't it?
Yes.
You know what we call noodles?
Noodlies? I don't know.
Nudies.
I was afraid it was going to be that, so I didn't say it.
Yeah. I think it's nudies.
Ryan would have just said it.
Yeah. No, he probably.
And he would have been like, wow, this is so. I just came up with that on my own.
Chicken nuggies, chicken tendies. I don't know what I'm going to do when my children are grown and I'm still calling them chicken. I call them chicky nuggies. So
I call Bernie a little chicken nugget.
Yeah.
He's my little chicken nugget.
Yeah, absolutely.
So fried chicken, yes, no.
Fried chicken, yes, but with fine print.
And finally, 3 men, 1 teen facing multiple charges in Louisiana for riding horses in Walmart.
Okay. Were they like real horses or
real big old horses? It was another TikTok stunt. It happened in Baker, Louisiana.
Oh, that makes me mad. No.
Well, they got arrested for it.
Yes.
Wow.
It was
to wait for the question.
They're all facing charges for entering and remaining after forbidden, unlawful post of
Can be
criminal
charged with
activity
being idiots
and disturbing the peace. My question to you is: are you okay with horseback riding?
Yeah, I've done it before, like maybe in Girl Scouts. I was in Girl Scouts for 3 or 4 years, and I know we did it then. I was super intimidated by the horses, though. But I think I'd like to do it again. We're going to Hawaii in the anime in June, and I've heard that there's horseback riding opportunities in Hawaii, and I thought, that would be a cool time.
Be awesome.
Yeah. Get thrown off of a horse into the mouth of a shark.
At least you're in Hawaii.
This is how my brain works,
Annie, if there's a way to go.
What a bad day.
That's like top 5 coolest ways ever to go.
The stories that will be
the
told.
The story ends in my death, and Ethan's like, "But what a death it would be."
I'm just saying. I mean,
we don't even need Ryan back. You are in rare full Ryan form. I love it. All right. Horseback riding, yes. I should do that again. That would be fun. All right. Thanks, Trisha.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Likewise.
YouTube live chat poll. We're going to get the results with Ethan when we come back. Do you celebrate Easter? Yes as a religious holiday. Yes as a secular holiday. Or no. Let us know on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. The poll will be live until the show is no longer live. And then we'll hand it over to Mark Reardon. So stick around. Get those results when we come back.
Sign me up for them full-time, I'm yours.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
So what a man gotta do?
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
What a man gotta say? What a man gotta pray to be last good night and your first good day. So what a man gotta do? What a man gotta do to be totally locked up by you?
TheDittamoreGroup.com. You're buying and selling real estate. You want the experts. You want the pros. You want the very best, the people who hustle and the people who know what needs to be known in that industry. People who are doing it full time. Let me introduce you to Tammy and Zach and Pat and Abby and Trisha at the Dittamore Group. And let me provide you a way to contact them directly so that you can start your conversation about listing your home with the best of the best at the Dittamore Group. 618-531-4652. 618-531-4652. With 50 plus years of combined experience, you are going to be working with experts who understand the neighborhoods that you're looking to buy in, understand how to best position your home that you're looking to sell in order to make sure that it is attractive to buyers to get multiple offers and great offers and to do it quickly. Your timeline matters to them, and they are there to achieve everything that you're looking for in that home sale, and they're going to be able to do it with honesty, with integrity, to help you achieve actual success. They are the number one team in the number one office in the Metro East, which means you get the very best when you choose the Dittamore Group. 618-531-4652. 618-531-4652. TheDittamoreGroup.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims. And in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Danny Cohn, CEO of the Jewish Federation of St. Louis. I want to share a bit about Passover, especially for those who may have friends, neighbors, or coworkers observing this meaningful Jewish holiday. Passover tells the story of Moses and the Israelites' journey from slavery to freedom in ancient Egypt. It is a time for family, reflection, and honoring traditions passed down through generations. Many families gather for a Seder, a special meal filled with symbolism and questions that spark conversation and learning. No matter what you celebrate this season, appreciating each other's cultures and traditions helps us build a more connected, compassionate St. Louis. So from our Jewish community to yours, Happy Easter, Ramadan Mubarak, and Chag Pesach Sameach. Happy Passover.
If you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, you need to be a member of the Range St. Louis West. Mark Cox here. You know, they get free lanes and free firearm rentals, 5% off firearms and suppressors, 10% off accessories, and 15% off classes. The new benefit on Sundays from 10 to noon, the lanes are for members only. And in April, you get 2 free basic cleanings of a modern firearm. Check them out at 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, TheRangeSTL.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is donating a bag of food to Open Door Animal Sanctuary for every AC clean and check performed in April. To schedule your AC check, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Good afternoon. It's Mark Reardon getting set to go on a Thursday. I feel like I'm living in an alternative universe. I really do. There are Democrats that are campaigning for a gangbanger and a wife beater. And they also think that a kid who stabbed another kid in the heart is somehow a victim. It's all fascinating. We're going to talk about it here after Fox News at 3.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
My mom messaged me to say Popple Pimper. It's a whole different show.
Annie just broke.
Popple Pimper.
Popple Pimper. Love that. Whoosh.
Maybe that's what she watches. I don't even know.
The Popple Pimper.
She said it's awesome. She wrote it in all caps. I said, ew.
Proctor Dimple Bopper.
I'd rather watch that, honestly. I'd rather watch Popple Pimper than Pimple Popper. I'd be okay with that.
How much time we got left?
Speaking of watching things that I don't know much about, Popple Pimper. Gross. Have you ever watched it on TV, or do you only watch it like the clips that find their way? Ooh, you DVR it, don't you?
No, I do not.
I don't believe you.
I think that I have caught it on TV once or twice. It's just too boring. The full show itself, I think, is boring. I don't like reality TV in general.
You've been
really,
forged in the time of the internet, the immediate satisfaction that you need from watching something. Your attention span is not what we were grown up with, and I am where you are now. Like, just get to the point.
Yes, I would agree, but I also just don't really care for reality TV in general.
Just in general?
So I think it's a combination of the two. Like, growing up, I'd watch like American Pickers with my dad. I guess that was,
I liked American Pickers.
I enjoyed that. Or Pawn Stars. We watched that a little bit too.
Best I Can Do.
But we never watched like
Best I Can Do is Popple Pimper.
Proctor Dimple Bopper. But there were.
Can I please pop your dimple? I don't think that's how it works.
There were never any of like, The Bachelors or Survivors or those kinds of things. Those were never on in our house.
Survivor was kind of like the original, wasn't it? Wasn't Survivor like the that was
probably those two were the originals.
What was the other one you said?
The Bachelor.
The Bachelor that's newer.
Was it Survivor and then like Big Brother?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Neither of which I ever watched.
Same.
Maybe American Idol at some point. I don't.
Yeah.
We're all kind of
watched one season.
I watched American Idol for a few seasons. Didn't start with it. Didn't stick with it. It's really the judges that make it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Harry Connick Jr. Still do. I thought J-Lo was good. Simon, my spirit animal. Just like tell it like it is. Let him have it. Let's get to the YouTube live chat poll here real quick. We'll go around the room and get the results.
Well, let me get off of the moose stream here real quick, and then
you can't stop it now. He's in love with the moose.
Yeah, so thank you, Trisha, for that. All right, 245 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Do you celebrate Easter? And this one, I'm happy to say, is not close. 80% say yes, religious holiday. 12% say yes, secular holiday. And only 7% say no.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's a religious holiday. Certainly, there are some secular things to it, but it wouldn't exist in its own right without the purpose of the religious holiday. I just find it interesting how much consumerism there is available for Easter for something that I think like is kind of silly without the religious aspect of it.
It's very out of the way.
Yeah, Christmas. I understand how it's a standalone in a secular world. Wish it weren't that way, but I understand that. But Easter, not so much. Religious for me. For you, Ethan?
Religious, yes.
Yeah, it's religious for me as well.
Yeah, 80% of you agree. Thanks for voting today. Stick around here because the Mark Reardon Show is coming up next on 97.1 FM Talk.
Rock and roll, turn up the band, find the hole, gonna lose control tonight. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
A lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports. And as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes. And those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
If you're a homeowner, it's time to upgrade your windows with Window World. Mark Cox here. I am a satisfied customer. I love the windows they put in my house, and there's a reason they're ranked number 1 in the number of windows sold in this country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They have that lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You don't have to worry about it